All right, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the Ultimate Schmoedown Aftershow here on John Roca's YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. We're about to have a great show here talking about 5 great matches, including 2 pay-per-view matches. So spoilers if you don't want to know about the pay-per-view that just happened. But oh boy, do we got a lot to talk about because this has been an exciting week of Schmoedown. But maybe the thing that makes it more exciting. I'm John Barr. You don't have to worry about me. We have at long last returning. Hail the conquering hero. He's back. Our golf pro, the man who knows the most about the legend of Bagger Vance, notoriously knows where that movie was shot or placed in. He'll tell us right now. Everyone, welcome back, Colin. How you doing, bud? That's right. We'll clap.
Just making sure I wasn't muted.
I clap for
it's
everyone.
It's fantastic to be back. I have missed your lovely faces. I have seen some of you in passing over the weeks, but it feels weird having not been here. And I would just like to say, John, passing the baton to you. There is no one more deserving, sir. Because as it's going forward, I'm going to be taking on some more gigs working for CBS and ESPN. So I'm going to have some months where I might not be able to make a show or, just playing it by ear. So, John, thank you so much for picking it up. And you've been doing fantastic.
Hey, if there's anyone who knows about playing things by ear, it's the guy with these friggin' honkers on the side of his head. But speaking of things that are to the side of me, hey, Boggs. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Yeah, all good, man. Another packed week, so got some fun guests today. Nice to see Colin back. Well, I got to get Colin's reaction or something. So I spoke to my good friend Saw yesterday. I know her reaction. I saw something online, Colin, and it started with a line of, "A man can't fight if he can't." Oh, what's the line actually? No, what is it? A man can't fight if he can't stand. A man can't fight if he can't see. A man can't fight if he can't breathe. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Strike first. No mercy.
Come on, he's back. He's back. Terry Silver. Can't wait, man. I cannot wait.
But right now, we're on another train. Everyone should be on this Mighty Ducks train. Soul and I just did a great review of the Mighty Ducks over with Sean Wingblade. And, y'all, the Cobra Kai, the Mighty Ducks, get on it.
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, the number one train everybody's got to be on if they're watching the show right now is the Soul train. Soul, how are you doing? How are you feeling today?
Doing good. I just finished having with Colin over on Sean Wingblade's channel talking about the Mighty Ducks, which is always fun to talk about. So go check that out after watching this if you haven't done so. And yeah, just happy to be with my boys. How you guys?
I'm doing great. I just realized there's fully no way to subtly eat a peanut butter-filled pretzel on the show. That's what you all just saw happen. And I might go ahead and eat another one, but what's great is that this time I can toss it right back on over to Soul to bring us some comments from last week's episode. Obviously, we talk about it all the time. We love it when y'all are able to support us financially, whether that be by becoming a patron of John Roca, whether it be sending us some Streamlabs or some Super Chats, but we also just love the interaction. And so every week we like to pull comments from the bottom of the YouTube video and read them out. Soul, the floor is now yours. Take it away.
Yeah, we have Eshna Kabir, hope I'm saying your name correctly, goes, "How did I not know that this corner of the MTS existed? Really enjoyed Soul and Boggs and everyone on today. Really happy to see the return of Chandru and loving the overall representation. Subbed. Thank you." And then we have Drunken Prayer going, "Loved all the guests as always. Well done, Boggs and Soul, keeping things on the rails as the panel dwindled." Thank you.
Yeah, Colin, if you missed it last week, I also had to tap out during the show, so we truly just left poor Soul and Boggs alone.
We got rid of the whites. We got rid of the whites.
As you should. As you should.
Both of us are strong proponents of that.
That's right.
And then we have Chris Taylor going, "I enjoyed listening to Taylor's mindset for her Schmoedown match." We have Ranzet Saru going, "Yay, Taylor. I'm glad you guys asked her about the wheel spin and Gucci's managing. She made good points that, of course, since it didn't go well, it seemed like a bad call, but had she spun big and got a strength, he's a genius. Also, well done by Drunken Prayer on asking for the nerdy show and tell. That was a lot of fun. Having a nerd. I'm always down for nerdy show and tells. If you have something nerdy to show, please show us, because we will all geek out with you. And then we have Jeremy Miller, our boy Jeremy Miller, going, awesome show, even as the panel got smaller. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you so much for commenting. And hey, if you're watching this right now, I see a couple folks in the live chat, including, of course, Drunken Prayer, Maria, and AB. Welcome back. Also, don't forget, if you're watching live, to also then go ahead and like the video and leave a comment after everything is all said and done. We really appreciate it. It helps the show. But the number one thing we got to do with this show is actually talk about some ding-dong Schmoedown matches. We're going to be going a little bit out of order just because we do have two very special guests lined up, if you saw in the thumbnail. So we're going to save their matches for a little bit later, which means I'm going to toss it over first to me. Hello, John. Hey, bud. We're here to talk about, first up, the Inner Geekdom match that we got this week with Moose Haas of the Finstock Exchange going up against Jacob Wittneben from the suspects, the usual suspects. And, you know, I stand by the two comments I've made throughout the season. Finstock Exchange really didn't know about their draft, but a lot of their rookies have been able to get their first W's fairly handedly. And I do believe that Sam Levine is becoming a better and better manager. This match didn't go so good. This match didn't go so good for him and Jacob. Now, obviously, before we get into this, let's be very clear. We're a pretty positive show. We're not here to just rag on people willy-nilly. The Schmoedown is a tough game. It takes a lot to be able to compete. It takes a lot to be able to remember all those movies. So no one is saying anything bad about Jacob Wittneben as a person when we say he did not get most of these questions correct. That is just simply we're saying, hey, we're glad to have you along for the ride. You probably should have answered more of these correctly, though, for just future reference. When all was said and done, Moose Haas, the latest of the Finstock Exchange rookies, got a perfect round, though he did miss the Rocketeer poster. So what is it called? The subheading, the tagline? Tagline. That's what it was. I got there. He missed the Rocketeer tagline bonus question, but still got every other question correct. Whereas Jacob, he had a few misses. And I'll say for me, really, the only one that killed me was that Kelsey Grammer Beast one. Because few things will fill you with as much joy as looking at Frasier in just mounds of blue hair. It's very funny to look at. Colin, I'm going to toss it over to you. I know you're a big Inner Geekdom fan. What'd you think of this round one?
I went perfect, if you, in case nobody asked. But I was right on the money. For me, you got to gauge, like obviously having seen what PJ and the crew were throwing in the last title match. This is a different level, but even then, these are still deep cuts, and that's exactly like sometimes you just don't get them. Like Boggs knows. I played in my first fan league match and I went 8 out of 10, and then I played Boggs and I went 2 out of 10. Like sometimes you just have a bad day, and it can happen to anybody. And the moment's the moment. And honestly, Moose is kind of imposing. I really dig his vibe. He's really stoic, knows what he knows, and was excited to see.
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly never lost a fan league match, and there's no footage currently on YouTube to prove me otherwise.
Not yet.
Round two. We got to talk about round two of this match. Like Colin was saying, Moose Haas, strikes an intimidating presence, carrying that over into his round two, where once again, not a missed question. It's very interesting as well looking at what wound up happening, because on the one hand, you have Moose Haas who spun away from Spider-Man, got it when it wound up going to opponent's choice on his end, and went 10 out of 10. But then on the other hand, you have Jacob, who spun Star Wars and seemed to be feeling pretty comfortable about it, and definitely did a good job, but 7 out of 10, which is just different than 10 out of 10, just numerically, especially considering that Moose was also then able to get a steal out from under him. Soul, what were your thoughts on round two?
Yeah, if you're going into round two with what Wittneben did in round one, you need to go perfect to stay in this game. And it was just unfortunate that he didn't go perfect in round two, but he still showed, like, hey, I have Star Wars knowledge here, And so it kind of showed like I might not have done well in round one. Those questions were out of my wheelhouse, but I do know some stuff. And so I have to like give him some credit on actually like doing really well in round two. But man, seeing Moose Haas just literally going, oh, this is not the slice that I want, and still going perfect. That's so impressive. That's so intimidating. I would not want to be Jacob Wittneben on the other side seeing that.
It's absolutely a tough situation that Jacob got put in, and it wound up leading to round three. We only got one question in this round. This is one of the few questions this round that I certainly got correct, which was just that Lego Batman Michael Cera. Oh, what a treat. What a delight that movie is. Go watch it if you haven't. Basically all the recent Lego movies, the string of the four of them, have all been pretty good.
Are you saying the Bionicle movies are not good?
No, I'm more talking about Lego Ninjago.
Okay.
I haven't seen the Bionicle movies recently.
Fair enough.
Listen, our age is differently. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, this was not like a terrible performance by Jacob Wittneben. It was just going up against the wrong person, right? Like that happens. It's sort of like how when Ace went up against Robert Parker, you know? Ace was just like a new rookie into the inner geekdom, figuring things out. And he just happened to go up against someone who was at that point like the scariest new thing to hop into the division. So Boggs, kind of talking about overall, obviously Finstock Exchange getting another KO under their belts. As Star Drew was mentioning here in the chat, it is true that also Jacob's friend the Juice in that little post-credit scene wound up ditching him for the Finstock Exchange. So obviously Finstock is riding high on these newbies, Boggs.
Yeah, what kind of pizza dealer is he? Right, he leaves his best customer out in the cold. So yeah, I mean it's great showing for Haas. I'm not going to judge the guy too harshly, you know, on his first match. You know, it wasn't like he got 5 points or whatever. So he did okay in the second round in Star Wars. He did prevent the KO. I thought it showed a bit of character there, and only made it to a TKO. Still better than a KO. But overall, yeah, I mean, good showing from Haas. You know, once again, the Finstock Exchange showing that they're taking this very seriously. You know, they're training well. Clearly, they've drafted fantastic. You know, another win, and I obviously we'll come to the later matches. But now that the Dungeon have lost their titles in the kind of or lost their kind of positions to win titles in the immediate future, now it's kind of maybe they can start catching up to the Dungeon with their rookies. So yeah, overall good from Haas. Wittneben obviously a bit unlucky there, but yeah, we'll look for them in their next matches.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'll have to do a double check to make sure I'm not lying when I say this, but I think at this point we've seen maybe every player from the Finstock Exchange. He was the last one? Great, yeah. So now we're kind of at that interesting point where obviously a lot of the discourse, as it were, around the Finstock Exchange is that all of these rookies have kind of just had their one match with, some exceptions like Rick the Rage Aratus, who of course has now had two. But it is going to be very interesting now that we've seen all of these players debut. Now that Dagnino has made a more definitive statement about his draft strategy, where we now go from here. And Sam Levine, I think it's all just about strengthening those bonds. It's very clear that he seems to be more personally connected with all of his players this time around. So I'm excited to see where the usual suspects go because they can really only go up at this point. God bless them. But with that, we are now going to jump over into our second match. Paul Walter Hauser, the latest in actors turned competitors, also representing the usual suspects, going up against Josh Horowitz, someone that we saw premiere in the teams division, going up against Rushmore with our dear beloved John the Outlaw Roca. Tough time there, a little bit of a better showing, but to really talk about that, I got to toss it over to Colin.
All right, let's get into it because I have a new person on my list, and his name is Josh Horowitz of 13-year-old Colin's favorite network, MTV. Let's get into this guy because I really think that Josh had a moment in his match with Perry where he kind of took the reins and felt comfortable, and that was a good sign because going up against a movie star like Paul Walter Hauser can be kind of intimidating, but he is a journalist, so obviously he has his experience going up, face to face, obviously over the last year, probably more so than others. And getting right into it, Hauser is a talent. I said before to somebody, this is redneck Kevin Smith, and I am here for it all day as somebody from the South, and I am down with it because his vibe is everything you want. Looks like he's got his kitchen in the background, doesn't care what's going on, and he's here to answer questions. Get right into round one. Misses Gremlins, and then Horowitz misses Mater. This is 7-7. It feels like Horowitz is going to have a chance for a perfect round here, so I'll throw it to you. It seemed like this was going one way, and then the second he misses Larry the Cable Guy, which there was no way Paul Walter Hauser was going to miss that one, seemed like the whole match turned around.
Yeah, it was that moment of you're almost at a perfect round. You're going to go up 2 points into round 2, and then you go, no, it's Owen Wilson, and that's the main guy. So obviously he picks someone that is in the movie, but it's like, Mater, it's Larry the Cable Guy. Like, us of our age, we all know that. We know the voice. We hear the voice. They also said comedian in the question too, so that kind of gives you the leg up of like, oh, it's not Owen Wilson, because Owen Wilson in comedy movies, not a comedian. So it was one of those moments of just like, you have Paul Walter Hauser has a chance now, because we'll see later in these matches, round 1 is a very big deal. Because what's happening in round 1 is determining these matches. Yeah. So it's pretty much just like, okay, here we go. Let's see what happens next.
It's definitely a win for him. It put him in a better mindset going into round 2, which we'll go right into it. Spins Viola Davis, and pretty confident he's like, let's roll with it. 6 out of 8. And that's fantastic. Horowitz can't pull the steal, which, you know, I think it was no
steals for
yeah.
For
right,
Horowitz.
Because
more choice twice.
Multiple choice, yeah.
Well, because Hauser missed the 2. He missed the 2, right? Okay, so, you know, it's Hauser's coming back. He only misses 2 points, and John Barr, how is this looking for Horowitz? Because then he gets Ed Harris. He's back again.
That's right.
PLB is so happy.
It's one of those things where you can't get too caught up in the momentum of just the one specific question in a match that you get wrong, or the one specific question where you're able to get a leg up. It's one of those things where you got to just keep your head fully in the game, like my favorite movie, High School Musical, or my favorite series, High School Musical, the TV show. That's a real thing, unfortunately. And Colin can't hear it. It's sacrilege to this poor guy. Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just been very interesting to, again, just kind of get a vibe on these new players, see where their strengths lie. They're all kind of hard to read. But obviously, Hauser, Horowitz just having, fun, goofy banter. I think we were all just kind of expecting a general, okay, lighthearted match. But then Horowitz lit up, and then it wound up getting him a 2-point advantage over Paul. Oh, and Colin's muted.
Good old days.
Well,
but thank you for the opportunity.
I had to get one. Boggs, a name popped into my head. Okay. Journalist, knows a lot of stuff, has a very broad range of knowledge, but a different spectrum than this man, one Jeffrey Sneider.
Greatest player of all time.
I sense Horowitz has potential due to his experience, the way his job, how personal he is with all these actors, because MTV, you get everybody. The movies come through you. He's the guy interviewing you backstage at the MTV Movie Awards, which is a fun show. You really get to know these people. So he has positive experiences. Not to say that, sitting, going in and talking to somebody at a press junket is not an exhilarating experience, but I'm sure he probably has a bit more fun with it. This guy seems to be in the right place, and round 3 is just a slugfest. He has to pull Rosamund Pike and Keira Knightley 5-pointer, which is Pride and Prejudice a rom-com? Is that?
No.
I guess.
That was my question. That was my. I think that was. He was like, "Is this really the answer?" Because I think
it's at the very least a rom.
Right.
It is a rom. It is definitely a rom.
Rom/coms, maybe not dash.
Period
coms.
rom.
It is a period rom.
Period rom.
But Horowitz plays well, but I think the main moment in round 3 is how confidently Paul pulls Blake Jenner. That to me was the moment where I realized that he can hang. Because that's a pull, that's boom, immediacy, that's being in either loving the film, being in the industry, one of those things. Boggs, which one of these two dudes stuck out to you more in round 3, and who are you more excited to see going forward?
I'd say the person that stuck out more with me was Paul Hauser. So, with these celebrities, you don't know how much they know. You don't know how much of the gameplay they know. Obviously, he was a bit unsure at times I think in the second round in particular, but he managed to negotiate his way through it well. And that kind of bit that he said with Sam said, "You look like the guy from iRobot," or I liked you in iRobot, and he goes, to quote Alan Tudyk, I did not murder him, or whatever the line is. Yeah, I thought it was really funny. He took his shirt off. Yeah, exactly. Gucci Askia took his shirt off. Keeping Viola Davis. I was quite surprised, and he didn't miss. Went multiple choice a few times. He only got 7 in the first round, went perfectly in the third round. Nice back and forth. I prefer them matches when they go back and forth, as opposed to just people going perfect all the way through. Just because you don't know, obviously, the kind of drama, the ebbs and flows of the match. Someone going up and down, etc. I do prefer that. But yeah, overall, I was pretty impressed with these two. I'd put it alongside Smith and Jericho, like as a celebrity match, because I was quite impressed with that one and quite impressed with this one. So overall, yeah, it was really fun and a good way to start off the Friday leading into the pay-per-view.
And Sol, what were your impressions of one Andrew Guy in this match?
Yeah, Andrew Guy, he's stuck in the times of when he played the Night Sisters the first time and hasn't met Sam yet. So it's one of those where we saw him having his Winter Soldier moment in a cutscene last week. So it's where is this going, Andrew Guy? Are you all right? Does someone need to check your head? Are we on Andrew Guy watch like we are on Wrecker watch for Bad Batch? Like his head's not doing so well. Is Andrew Guy okay?
No, but
that
one we can answer
yes.
very specifically. I mean, yes, and just as far as improv goes, certainly, but no, but as far as Andrew Guy's poor mental health, it's okay. There are several good therapists out here in LA. We'll be able to find him somebody. And one thing that we certainly got to talk about, something that I thought I would need, therapy for our dear friend Boggs, is it was finally the return of his favorite player, setting up perhaps one of the greatest new rivalries that we can see in the Star Wars division for this upcoming week's match. But we, of course, can't get too far ahead of ourselves. We're going to have a special guest popping up in a hot second. But let's not keep the people waiting too long. We'll be able to circle back about this. Let's just begin to talk about perhaps the implications of this S.W.A.G Corruption Star Wars match, the last match of round 1 in this tournament, Andres Ace Cabrera against Sean Sullivan.
Yes.
It is Sol who's breaking down that one. That's important detail.
So, my
Colin,
boy
are you
Ace...
sure I'm the guy to hand off the baton to? Are you positive?
Look, man,
possible.
the CBS paycheck was too good.
I got the ball. I got it for you, John. I'm here for you. But Ace, my boy, swag, drip, the return of Upset City. Put some respect on this boy's name. I love Ace, obviously. Playing against Sean Sullivan. We're going straight into it. Are we talking the...
I mean, let's talk a little bit about the implications of this here match, because obviously, as Ace was saying, he was the golden child of last year's tournament, kind of the upset city, as you were just saying. He blazed through some of the best this division has to offer, and now he's going up again. People are counting him out. Meanwhile, on the other end of the equation, you have Sean Sullivan, a player who, much like Adam Witt, has had some great performances, but not a great amount of luck when it comes to actually getting some W's attached to his name. Now he is representing Corruption, whole new faction, whole new era, and he had a chip on his shoulder. You could definitely tell that, like, as much as Ace had a chip on his shoulder, Sean also had a little bit of a chip where he was like, come on, guys, stop not talking about me.
He also has a little bit of whiskey in his drink, too, to add to that chip.
I don't know what that's like either.
What?
Oh,
you guys are so cool. So cool.
Well, you know who's much cooler than us, Boggs? Soul, but also someone who's cooler than us anyway, maybe on par with Soul. We've got him, ladies and gentlemen. We did it. Mission accomplished. We got the king of the Star Wars tournament. Last year's Star Wars tournament, Schmoedown, spectacular winner. What are all of this man's titles? Do we have enough titles to give to this man? I don't know. I'm going to let him speak for himself. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show, returning Andres Ace Cabrera. Andres, how you doing, man?
Yo, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Let's go, Suns. Let's go, Suns.
Yeah.
Let's go, Suns.
As a Miami Heat fan, I think now I need to root for the Suns because I'm a little upset today.
Yeah, that was
the owner
rough.
of mini Chris Paul rookie cards, let's go, Suns.
Yeah,
Let's go, Suns.
come back.
Sports,
So how are you
folks.
doing
That's
today,
sports.
Ace?
Sorry.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, definitely bummed about the Heat. I like Butler a lot. I like a couple of those guys too on that team. No shade to the Bucks. The Bucks are a great team, but yeah, it's a bummer. Getting swept is never fun. So
Nope.
Yeah.
We did it last year to the Pacers.
Yeah.
So now it had to happen to us. But anyways, we're talking Star Wars. Sorry for that little moment of sports.
It's
there.
all right. From what I understand, the Sixers are doing well. That's all I need. I can rest on my laurels
They
for
are.
a hot second.
They're about to
Well
play
is
in a little
quotation
bit.
marks.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy, I got to keep me updated.
Yeah.
Siri, Alexa, both of you.
So you're playing Sean Sullivan in round one. You're going back into this tournament, the tournament that you won last year, and kind of with like people having a little bit of disrespect on your name, not thinking you as one of the higher competitors. Boggs and I have talked about like you should have also had another rematch for the belt. Like other players who lost to you were having chances to go to the belt, and you're in here in this tournament. So what's your mind process going back into a Star Wars tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing it for swag, right? That's my main concern is like scoring as many points as possible, which is why I was bummed about not getting the opportunity to score points in that match when I could have. I was so mad about it. I definitely, you guys could tell that when I did that match, but it's definitely one of those things where score as many points as possible. And if that's kind of what I'm here for, then so be it. Yeah, that's kind of my main concern going into the tournament is like knowing I have 3 matches to qualify for that title shot and knowing that if I get 3 matches, that's even more points for my faction.
And then now you have Laura Kelly on your team with you. So how's that been studying wise? Like Star Wars, you have the great Laura Kelly who you've defeated when you went perfect in that match. She only missing 1 question, but like both of you being complete forces in this league, what's it like studying with her?
Yeah, it's been fun, right? Because I have Chandru, who obviously helps a lot too. And then Winston does what he can when it comes to Star Wars, when it comes to coming up with questions. And then Paul jumps in every once in a while. But Laura has been different for sure, because we're definitely 2 Star Wars competitors, which is the first time we've done that. So a lot of it is just kind of seeing where we're at. It's kind of fun getting like clarification questions. When I ask her, I'm like, all right. And it's always like Star Destroyers or blasters. It's always one of those 2 where I'm like, tell me this blaster. Is it this or is it this? And I tell her the name, because even I get confused at times, because sometimes Wikipedia is confused and they give you 2 options. And I'm like, which do you say in the match? Which never comes up anyway, which is another bummer that I could talk about forever. Give me more blaster questions. I don't think I've had a single one, and it's such a bummer. So, but yeah,
you'll get it. Like you'll get that one. Like we were talking to, what was it? Oh man, I'm forgetting his name at the moment.
Harper.
But they were talking.
Witt?
No, not Harper.
Was it Adam Witt? Was it
Adam Witt? There we go, Adam Witt. So him talking about all the funny names in Star Wars and the fact that he's now getting to say more funny names. He's like, I was so glad that I'm able to answer these questions. I've been studying them. They're funny names. It's his favorite part about Star Wars, and now he gets to say them out loud.
I guess the most important blaster question is, what's the definitive sound that we say those make? Do they make a pew? Do they make a bzzz?
It's definitely
chow. It's pew.
No, pew for sure. Yeah, and even when Last Jedi. Have you guys seen the behind
Laura
the scenes
Dern.
of that?
Pew, pew,
Laura
pew.
Dern, yeah. She straight up said it too. And it's still in the movie, which I think is hysterical.
Hayden came out too. It might have been during the extensive hundreds of hours of extra content that are on the Revenge of the Sith DVD, or maybe an interview after, where he was like, when I'm sitting there with my lightsaber and I can't go choo 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 choo, they picked it up on the boom mics, and they were like, "Yo, Hayden, you gotta chill out on the boom on the choo 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 choo."
That's precious. I love that.
You can't help it. You can't help it.
And was that when he was a child, or was that fully just like full adult man?
I'm pretty sure it was both. Like, it's
nice.
Like, I'm pretty sure the advancements in boom mics probably helped with that.
We love consistency more than anything.
Consistently inconsistent is what we give you here on the show.
Always. So going into this round one goes another perfect round one for you, Ace. We had Sullivan missing a few questions, missing Ackley, missing Lyra's name. He knew it after the fact, but it was just one of those moments of you write the wrong thing, you know what you wrote is wrong, but like in the Schmoedown, it's not written down. You can't actually have it count for a point. So what was it like going that perfect round, having another one here in this league?
Yeah, it was fun, right? Because I really do feel like the more we think about it a little bit more, and I think people are starting to realize, like, round one is kind of the make or break for a Star Wars division, because it's usually has like at least 2 quote questions in there. And quote questions are always kind of tricky because you want to make sure you get the exact quote. And there's always at least kind of one question that you want to make sure and hear one more time, which I repeats pretty much always in now. And that extra bonus point is going to be so crucial. I learned the hard way, obviously, last year with my match with Alex Damon, where I was like, I just missed 2 in round 1. But then it just amplified to 3, and it was just like, all right, this is, it just doesn't help. So yeah, now I've learned that round 1 is kind of where it's at, especially since round 2 has been, a little easier in my opinion. Even the championship match, I felt like round 1 was the hardest of that whole thing, for the previous championship match that we got, because I think that Alex's round 2 and Demelance's round 2 were pretty easy, compared to like, the exact quote of Han Solo or the Lucre Hulk ship, or some other questions they got in there. The Papanoida question, George Lucas. All those questions were, to me, harder than any round 2 question. So,
Boggs, my resident Star Wars, my fellow Bad Batch reviewer with me. Were you surprised that Sullivan missed the questions that he missed?
Yeah, no. But I just think sometimes Ace is just that on point, especially in a tournament form that he's in. He's got that underdog thing going in, and Ace addressed it in the promo where he said that, you're not on my level. So I was a bit like, oh, okay, but he kind of proved it, right? So no, it was a bit of a rough round 1, and especially when someone opposite you is going perfect, it's like you doubt yourself more and more, and you hesitate, and you, like he was saying, you have 2 answers and you go with one and it ends up being the wrong one. It just looks not on your side. But overall, Ace has it kind of coming back, setting the standard, all these kind of people in the tournament, all kind of Dragon Con players, all doing really well against, other players. So how's it kind of representing the Schmoedown? I'm like, no, it's me against them kind of thing. That's the way I saw it anyway. And you holding it down round 1. So
yeah, although I do give credit to Sean quite a bit, just real quick, because I know for sure, like you said, Sol, that he knew those questions. Those weren't questions that I believe you when you say you knew them, because it's not necessarily the most confusing or like, difficult questions. They're definitely questions that it's like in the moment you're like, oh, Liana Halleck, and then you're like, oh no, that's Jyn Erso's cover name, and then he just kind of left it there. Same with the Ackley. I felt like he was just like, oh, that creature that bites, and it's like, that's no, the one that rips the pike in half is what the specific moment of that creature that they were asking for, which is what the Ackley did. But he was thinking of Nexu, which is another creature in there. So those are all like, I believe him when he said he probably could have got those for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And going into your round 2, You're getting another perfect round here with Attack of the Clones. When you're seeing the Star Wars wheel, and now that it does have opponents and spinners this year, which we haven't seen in previous years, looking at the wheel, is it giving more strategy now because those two slices are there? Or is it just like, I'm just going to focus on whatever one I really want to focus on? Or like, how's the wheel round going now? Because we do have those slices.
It's interesting, right? I can't lie. I definitely wasn't the biggest fan when I first heard that. I think it was at the start of the tournament or maybe even before one of the first Star Wars matches they did it this year. Because I'm pretty sure they didn't do it last year when I was competing. I don't think they had opponent's choice or your choice kind of thing. A spinner's choice is what it's called. I kind of was like, that's kind of dumb. We have 12 movies. That's more than enough. We can just put on the wheel. But then I was just like, all right, I guess there is some strategy to it if someone is getting Clone Wars, or if there's a weapons, vehicles, and technology wheel, or if there's a sequel question, and I know someone doesn't care for the sequels or something like that. There is a little bit of strategy to it that I'm actually kind of okay with.
Yeah, and it's definitely to add to gameplay that was not a part last year. I think it was the first match this year that they had it on. I was like, oh, we're doing that in this division now. So I'm going to throw over to Colin, also big Star Wars fan, goes, what would you think of the whole, like, Ace is going perfect, Sullivan getting The Last Jedi, missing the opening crawl question, missing the bomber ship question, getting a whole 6 out of 10 there. What's your thoughts on round 2?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing the math and rolling into my old buddy John's working those numbers, getting a little statistician-y over here. We're getting into the advanced metrics, as they say. Sullivan squeaked by in round 1. If you get 6 in round 1 and Ace goes perfect, you have to go perfect in round 2, and you have to go perfect in round 3 and Ace has to miss his 5 to kick it to overtime. Just getting to 7 kept it in that fighter's chance that if Ace misses his 5, you hit your 5 and you win. You have to go perfect in round 2 here, and that's Sully's little letdown, is those checkdowns on multiple choice were mathematically unacceptable, because that's where we got to start thinking here in these Star Wars matches, because you are going to run into somebody that's going to average 9.5 points in round 1 more so than not, and that's only missing about 1 question or getting it up to the bonus question. You gotta be thinking about that stuff, because you cannot be banking on somebody else missing. You have to be confident in the Star Wars division, and that is exactly what Ace has been doing in every single one of these tournament games. So confident, every answer. I got 1 question for you, Ace. Talk me through the Magna Guard question, because my brain was probably doing the same hoops and loops that yours was doing, because first I go, oh, what are they asking? Then you heard it again the second time, and I saw it in your brain click.
Yeah, I'm curious what you were thinking. I think a few people were. Yeah, go ahead. I'm curious.
I think back to the video game, because that's where I have the most experience with episode 3 characters, and where most of my deep knowledge is playing the game over and over again, because a lot of it's the same. And it's the Magna Guard was what stuck out to me, and then hearing again, oh, they don't want Magna Guard, they want more, and then going to the IG 100 is the next thing. Okay, you want that deeper level. This is not the round 1 question. This is a round 2 question.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was for sure. It's like asking the difference between an astromech droid or an R2 unit, right? It's it's the same thing, but it's you have to say R2. It's not necessarily more difficult. It's just, they wanted that specific IG 100. And I definitely had to hear it again, because I wasn't sure if they were asking because they said Magna Guard in the question. So I was like, you guys just said it. So I was like, are they asking for is there a title for the battalion? I was thinking super deep for that kind of question. And then I realized oh, they said Magna Guard. They want the little number, which is IG 100, which I feel is, I know a lot of people in the comments, we're not a lot, 2 people, said that's really tough. I mean, Not really.
If you know, right?
Yeah.
That's like if you know, like those. That's kind of that was a little nod from George to be like these are kind of the first before they go into
Yes.
crazy cyborg mode.
Yeah. But for sure, that's definitely what it was for me. Is kind of listening to the question, hearing the word Magna Guard, and knowing the word Magna Guard is also in the answer. Because I had to say IG-100 Magna Guard. Or at least I thought I had to say it. I don't know if they would have taken it otherwise, but I felt like that was kind of the only thing. It definitely wasn't that I didn't know it or I had to pull it out. I definitely knew it. So,
and that's when JTEs come into hand.
Yeah, which I use. I use a lot. I think I use them all. So,
and seeing you getting upset about not getting a steal when you've been playing perfect this whole time, where was your mindset there? Like you left that point on the board, and it was like. I kind of saw like a Kobe in there, like, I missed that shot. This is awful, even though you're winning.
Oh, I was so mad. I was so mad. You could even hear me be talking over Mark and Christian, just muttering under my breath because I was so upset. Because I realized then that I was like, this match would have been over. I could have finished the match there. And my biggest problem is that in my head, I'm literally saying, oh, it's 8. Oh, it's clearly 8. And I'm like, is it 8? No, wait, it's got to be 8. And then I was like, and then it's like 5, 4, 3. And I was like, wasn't it 11? You know what? 11. And they were like, it's 8. And I was like, oh my God. I literally talked my way all the way down out of 8 to 11, which was so dumb of me when I just should have went with my instinct, which was what I was doing the whole match, and which I usually do. Is when I first hear a question, I go with my gut instead of like second guessing it. And that's the first time I second guessed. And sure enough, it cost me a KO. So I was really upset. I was really upset because I knew it. And if I would have just, even if I used a repeat there, I think that would have helped. Heard the question again, because again, it's 11 ships, I believe that go on the attack run, but it's 8 bombers specifically is what they were asking. That were a part of the attack run. So it's a 2 differentiation kind of question.
Next time you just got to play with that like blinded helmet from episode 4 where it's just like trust your instincts.
Yeah, which is what I've done, which is why I was like the one time I didn't, it cost me a KO, which kind of bummed me out. So
yeah, and it's one of those moments where like sometimes you need more time for a question because that's going to get you to the answer, and sometimes that time can be a hindrance because you know the answer, but then you have that time to talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
So it's playing that game and making sure that you're in the right mindset. But it was that's just leaving a point there. That's also leaving a +1 for you for swag. So I know that's even though you won, it's like one of those blows of like, I could have gotten more. And as seeing you last year and now in this match, that's like such the right mindset to have going in the Star Wars division. And that's why when we do our picks later, goes, you're my boy.
This is only your second ace match as a part of the gang, right, Soul?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, yeah. She missed the original run where Boggs and I were like holding up the torches for ace last year.
Yeah, you guys were the only one. Yeah, you guys were the only after show that was with me 100%. Like, I thought I was on the ace train by myself. I would see like where it would go like 90% the other person, 10% ace, and like each match. And I was just like, what are you doing? It's going to be ace all the way. So upset city here again.
That's why we let Soul onto the shows. We handed her like a multiple choice like test just to be like, all right, are your opinions the same as ours as far as who you think is going to win? Don't watch the match. Just say who you think is going to win. And then when she got it 100% right, that's when we were like, all right. She's better than us for sure.
But go ahead.
Well, I just realized we've been neglecting to look over at the private chat. We got a couple Streamlabs in. Thank you so much to everybody watching for sending us your lovely Streamlabs. First up, not a question, just a lovely comment from our friend Drunken Prayer. No question. New job started, so just doing a bit to help keep the lights on. Thank you so much, Drunken Prayer, and congratulations. Happy to hear that for you. And then we do have a question from Malcolm, who says, Malcolm, for Ace, besides the Schmoedown, have you played in anything else competitively? It seems like you adapted very quickly to the game, especially for something as competitive as the Star Wars League.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it last year, and I got made fun of by Chris Jericho, which I thought was hysterical. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Oh gosh,
Oh.
it took me a second to remember that, but like from that whole spectacular down.
Yeah, so I swam competitively for quite a bit. I also did track and field for a bit, but I sucked at that, so it doesn't count.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I was terrible, but I still tried. But yeah, I mean, my thing is like, there's a thing about locking in that I'm really good in. Usually pretty good at locking in. And I know that's such a cliche term, but it's kind of true. So I did that for years, and it was really more about kind of getting your mindset locked into the moment and making sure you're ready for that. So yeah, that helped me for sure. And obviously I knew I'm pretty good with like memory stuff. I've always usually been pretty good at that, but that's just general stuff. It was never competitive or trivia wise. This was my first time trying trivia in general. But I knew if I kind of put my mind to something, I knew I could, go a long way. Which is why I'm still, hoping for ridiculous questions, because I think those are fun. Even if it is, again, blasters or ships or something like that. I think those would be even more fun going in the future. So,
absolutely, Star Wars. It's a silly, fun place, and there's always such fun things to say. And then we just look at round 3. This final round, as we were just talking about, like Colin said, Sullivan really got pushed into the corner by you, especially with those first few misses, and he rose to the occasion in that round 3, getting all 3 of his questions correct, which, we got to give him props for. Again, it's that thing that we talk about, sticking it through to the very end. I know you were bummed about missing out on that KO, but I'm sure KOrruption, the faction named after KOs, were pretty pleased that their gentleman, Sean, was able to pull through, especially since they happened to lose Laura Kelly now to you over in S.W.A.G. This was kind of that extra step that they needed. But then, yeah, you managed to get just that Magna Guard to Magna Cum Laude. That's kind of wordplay. Incredible job looking at the end of this match. But, we talked a little bit about it already right before you hopped on. You are now facing down the barrel of the latest greatness, it seems, in this Schmoedown Star Wars division, being Thomas Harper. A friend of the show, we must say, for posterity's sake. We quite enjoy Mr. Harper and his appearances on this show, and we quite enjoy the fact that so far he's gone perfect in his Star Wars matches. But as Christian was saying at the end of the match, like when you heard, you were not vexed in the slightest. If anything, you were more excited for him than anybody else.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's definitely one of those things where I want to play the best. I'm not the kind of guy who shies away from anyone who seems unstoppable. Obviously, that's what my intentions were facing Alex as well. But as soon as I heard about Harper and I saw the hype and I saw the matches, I was like, yeah, I would love to play Harper. And I know a lot of people might not feel that way and they might see him as some unstoppable force, but I've always seen it as like another challenge that I could take on and overcome. Because I really do feel like, I just feel like it's one of those things where I think a lot of people hype up certain things, and I'm like, I get the hype. I'm not denying that he's good, but I still understand what I can do as well. So,
absolutely, man. And oh boy, we're so excited to see that match. That's going to be like sort of in the same way that like your match against Laura Kelly was one of my favorite matches of last year. I think you versus Thomas Harper has real potential to be like right up there with like Marisol versus Janine as the matches that we're talking about at the end of this year as like some of the all-time best that we have. But another thing that we have, sort of segue, is questions. We have questions from the Discord. If you're not a member of John Roca's Discord, go ahead and hop on that. You'll be able to hear your questions read by Soul, including such as, but not limited to, the questions that she's going to read right now. Soul, take it away.
We also got a Streamlabs in here, so I'm going to read that one first.
Hey.
Thank you, 50 Shades of Geek. He goes, okay, Ace, here's a question for you. What's the name of the third creature in the Geonosis arena, not the Nexu or the Acklay?
Yeah, that's the Reek is what it's called.
Oh, easy. Come on, Ace.
It's too easy, bro.
Back pocket.
I know the order in which they come out in.
A great question from someone in the chat, a Whisper, I think the name is. Do you think Anakin brought balance to the Force in Revenge of the Sith or Return of the Jedi?
Yes.
Hey.
I thought he brought
only has
balance to the Force.
That was the moment of ¿Por qué no las dos?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought he brought balance to the force in the film Little Italy, starring him and who was that? Emma. What was her name? Emma. Oh, what's the name of that Emma that was in that movie?
Roberts?
It's a really bad movie, so don't. Emma Roberts. That's it. Oh boy, what a film! What a film!
His best film is Jumper.
I've heard that said many a time. But yeah, what other Discord questions do we have? Did we even get to any yet, or have we just talked about these wonderful Streamlabs and comments?
Going into the Discord, we have from Jeremy Miller going, do you enjoy playing more live matches like the Twitch tournament last season or more pre-recorded?
I've actually thought about this. Damn. Okay. At first, you know what? I'm gonna stick with my original. I like live matches. I can't lie. I can't lie. I know a lot of people hate them, like competitors. I've talked to them before because they were like, "Man, I don't know how you do live matches." There's something about it. There's something about just kind of fading off that energy, even though it's digital energy. You can't really see. There's people there. There's
feel
people
the force.
Yeah, exactly. You can still feel kind of the energy there anyway. I don't know. I just like it. I feel like it's a little better. I feel like it flows better. I feel like it's more like in the moment kind of feeling versus, doing something when it's literally just you, Mark, and Christian, and then the competitor. And you guys are the only ones witnessing what's happening, whether it's good or bad. So if it's a disaster, you guys are alone in that. If it's amazing, no one can know about it or talk about it or see it or anything else till it's okay. So it's one of those things where I love live matches. So
thank you.
Yeah,
Peggy.
I thought that definitely brought to the drama last year, Ace, man. That part was part of your rise. I thought, it being live and, like Demalonta missing that 5-pointer, all live, we're all witnessing it all together, all the 12,000 people watching it live all at the same time. That is way better than watching a
and most of them rooting against you too. So it's just like you're in there and you're like, let's go, Ace.
Yeah.
We have from Drunken Prayer going, as is tradition for Star Wars players, I'll ask you, who is your favorite minor/background Star Wars character?
Ooh, favorite. There's a lot. I mean, I could do it for like each trilogy. I love Plo Koon. He's one of my favorites. Ever since I was a kid, I just thought he looked cool, and obviously everything else that he does in the films. I think he's dope. That's definitely one of them for mine. If I had to go sequels, man, I feel like there's so many.
It's your oldest friend.
Oh, who?
Babu Freak.
There you go. Babu Freak. There you go.
My oldest
Babu's
friend.
a great one.
I was gonna say John Williams in the box.
Oh yeah, John Williams. There you go.
Do we know his character name? Does he have a name?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's oh man, it's like Tress something. Tasu Tress.
I wonder if he chose it. If he walked up to JJ and JJ was like, "This is your name," he's like, "It's not my name, Jay."
It's supposed to be Maestro in reverse. So it's like Otro Tress. Something.
It's like
I don't know.
Mickey's name in like Fantasia, right? Where it's like, oh, it's Disney backwards.
If PJ's watching, he's like, "Ooh, next question for a 5-point."
I hope. I low key
He could
prefer. Give me more Rise of Skywalker questions. I'll take it.
And then we have here from Tushka going, both Laura Kelly and Thomas Harper have 100% accuracy this year. Who do you think will miss a question first? Pause for effect. And how excited will you be when it's Thomas Harper? # the major bleeds.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think I have to say if I'm playing Thomas Harper, I'm kind of partial to him missing. So I'll say Thomas Harper. By the way, Oma Tress is what his name was. So I got that. At least the last part.
Yeah. And plus, Laura Kelly's on your team too. So
Yeah,
if she
so
doesn't
I have
miss,
to.
that's better for swag.
And apparently it's a great rapport with Grace, as we just found out. Apparently Laura and Grace have been chatting up a little bit. Well, I mean, obviously she's got that title match, but I'm like, what else are we about to see from this? It's an unusual partnership.
Yeah.
Unusual but interesting. Well, let's see what happens there. And then the last question we have here is, from Malcolm saying, "Thank you for being a huge inspiration. You bring real passion to everything you do, not the least of which is the Schmoedown. I feel amped every time you win. If you had to drop one Attack on Titan character in the Star Wars universe during the Empire days to assist in an assassination assignment targeting Darth Vader, who do you choose?"
There's one answer.
Yeah, it's kind of leading me that way. I have to pick one guy who's like
little mean ginger kid that backs up Aaron in the final season for sure, right?
Yes.
You mean a walking atomic bomb? Would you like a walking atomic bomb with you at all times?
Sort of.
Sounds cool.
I take Levi. I think Levi is
That's the only answer.
Yeah, Levi's kind of low key too powerful for.
What if IG-11 was a human and could think? That's basically Levi. I can kill anything you need me to do, any which way it needs to be.
He's also low key like a Jedi though. He could like jump super high and
purple lightsaber,
swing around his swords, and yeah,
definitely a Mace Windu.
I'm gonna reverse that question and say, if you were to put a Star Wars character into Attack on Titan, which one would it be?
I mean, I'm going with my girl Rey. I think Rey would kick ass. She'd be like the Mikasa of Attack on Titan. So I think she'd be awesome.
Oh man, now I have that headcanon in like my head, and I just need to see it happen. Someone animate it, put it on YouTube.
One thing that we need to see happen is also what?
I was gonna say Finn has lines much like an anime character in the sequel trilogy. Ray! He just says the same thing over.
He's also low key. No, I always say this, but it's kind of true, but it's also like not true, not confirmed. But he's also low key in Attack on Titan. Like that's Finn.
Oh wow!
He's supposed to be on Yokopon. I don't know if you guys watch Attack on Titan, but if you know who on Yokopon is, that's supposed to be John Boyega. Because he's a fan of Attack on Titan, and I think that's what the creator said. He was like, yeah. So that's Finn's in it. He's canon. He's in Attack on Titan.
Finn is canon, yes.
Yeah.
There we go. When is it going to be my turn? When do I get to be in the show?
Yeah.
Well, one thing that
John, do we have any patrons to come in?
We sure do, Soul. In fact, by my count, we have 3. Starting off with our friend who's already sent us over a Streamlab. He's back, everybody. Drunken Prayer is here with us. Drunken, I'm saying it again like it's your first name. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, it might as well be. Thank you very much. I'm doing good. Barely slept. And we've got a cool runnings match coming up. So that's going to be fun. Thanks, Sol.
You're welcome.
Well, what is your question for the dear Ace Cabrera?
Now, first of all, as is a new tradition for when we got Star Wars competitors on, I bring some show and tell as well.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Nice.
Wow.
Mandalorian disc plate.
Yeah.
You can hang them on your walls, but you just hang them on your wall with magnets.
Sponsor
really
the show,
cool, man.
disc plate. Sponsor the show.
Yeah, there you go. There's a plug for you. Anyway, goddamn, I wanted to ask an anime question, but I'll just stick to my original one now, which was, obviously, Filoni's taken over the reins for Star Wars. If Filoni walks up to you tomorrow, goes, pitch me a show about your favorite Star Wars character, who do you pick, and what would the show be about? Preferably someone who's not a big character.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I've always wanted. I'm not going to say this answer because it's already literally being made. But the Obi-Wan show is something I've been talking about since I saw Attack of the Clones. I was like, they need to make a show about this guy just going on missions and kicking ass. But now I've really talked myself into like a young Mace prequel series. Ooh. I really think that'd be cool. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, it's the perfect time for the Jedi. You could go with adventures, him and his master. You can make the age range like a 20-something, kind of like a young Mace Windu. I think that's just like an automatic great show, great pitch. Get a lot of audiences to jump back into this time period, which is a time period that's right before Phantom Menace, which is not explored too much, versus like post, Revenge of the Sith type, which is always what the new stuff comes out. It's usually around that time period. So I'd probably go with that.
Okay,
I'm
right,
surprised
so-
you didn't pick Hera like before Rebels, like in that time period, because I know Hera Syndulla is one of your favorites.
Go picture,
That'd be
kid.
great too. Yeah.
Sorry, I know we got two people who are much bigger Star Wars fans than me waiting, but quick question then: who would you pick to play Mace Windu then? And the younger Mace Windu, because now that you brought it up, that has
Get
to
the
be.
kid
I
from
have to
Falcon
ask that.
Winter
Sorry.
Soldier.
I don't know. I have no idea who I would pick. I always joke, and I'm just gonna make this joke again. Michael B. Jordan as a young Mace Windu. I'd go, sure, why not? Michael B. Jordan, who's like super.
Is RB3 groaning somewhere?
Yeah, exactly. I pitched it to him many times, so I'll go with that.
Fair enough.
There you go. Fair enough. Yeah. Thank you so much for the question, man. We'll be seeing you again shortly if I had to take a guess. But we now have our second person coming up. We got 50 Shades of Geek. No, we don't.
Oh.
We had a surprise cameo from.
Don't you try to silence me.
I'm sorry. It won't happen again.
My first time back after months, and you try to kick me out immediately.
My hands are on the screen. I'm not cheating, I swear.
Okay. Hands down, hands up. Hey, Ace. What's up, swag, drip, drip. What's up?
Hey, man.
First of all, I got to say this. I owe you an apology. Because I was one of those unenlightened fools who was rooting against you last year in the tournament, and I have never been so happy to be so wrong. And I'm wrong 90% of the time, so thank you for proving me wrong the right way. Now, secondary question. Ow. That was a mistake.
Be careful, 50.
Okay, second question. Would you ever consider going back to Inner Geekdom in the Schmoedown?
Yeah, I do. I want to, even though it's really daunting now. I can't lie. Every time they say swashbuckling adventure, I'm just like, oh God. But I'm on with. I was actually one of the proponents because they actually put it up for vote when it comes to new categories in IG. But I was the biggest proponent, like literally being like, you need to include this category in there. Was Alien and Predator. That was me. I made that happen. It being an IG.
So we have you to thank for.
Yeah, exactly. So I like a lot of the new categories. I like the dystopian future, time travel, Alien and Predator. I guess
Planet
I'll have
of the Apes.
Yeah, and I guess I'll have to rewatch.
Love the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, and I guess I'll have to rewatch the Pirates movies too. But I definitely want to jump back in. I really do, and I want to try. I want to try again for sure.
Good, because we need to see more of Ace this season, especially. But also, there are very few players in the Schmoedown right now who are playing in both Star Wars and IG. I think like Alex and maybe you were what? I'm getting a signal from Colin.
No. Maybe like 2 or 3. I think like maybe 2 or 3 people have ever.
And Mara said she's going to play Star Wars, but she hadn't done that yet.
Yeah.
So you and Alex are kind of the only ones, and those are my favorite divisions. So I definitely want to see more people playing it. And I think like maybe most people just go either singles and teams, or just focusing just Star Wars and just IG. We need more people who do both.
For sure. Yeah, I would love to.
Like probably and Mike Asper being in 3 divisions.
Yeah.
50, what hilt is it? I didn't see the hilt.
Right. But also about the Reek question, that wasn't just the practice. I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to Google it, so I figured I just asked the expert. However, you wanted to see more weapons and ships questions. Do you know what this ship is?
Oh man, I have such bad vision.
Bring closer, 50. Bring closer.
Yeah, bring it closer.
Is it the TIE? Is it Kylo's TIE silencer? Or is it Kylo's TIE whisper?
Wrong.
Yeah.
It is the head of Sauron.
Oh no way!
Wow.
Well played.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's the silencer. I'm just kidding.
Oh, there you go. I was gonna say the silencer.
That would have been a great bait and switch. Well, thank you so much, 50 Shades, for killing it with the question and all of the gear. Happy to have you back, making an appearance.
Great to be back, and also great to finally see you, Saul. Where have you been?
Here.
Well, and with that,
the show we do together isn't important enough for you. Okay. I get you.
Oh, wow. I'm not here. I don't know anything about that spice. I don't know anything about that. I think we got to cleanse the palate a little bit from whatever drama is going on. We got to bring on one of the finest Star Wars minds in this or any other galaxy. We're always pleased to have him here on this show as a member of Outlaw Nation, or should I say, mayhaps Brennan Nation? Everybody say hello to Brennan. Brennan, how you doing, my man?
Hey, Ace, my man.
How's it going, man?
Good. And I love The Rise of Skywalker as much as you do.
Oh, thank you. I love that. Every time I hear The Rise of Skywalker come up in the Schmoedown, I love it. All the questions, just give me more. I absolutely
love it. I got the
love
poster to the right.
Oh, that's amazing. Yep. I have mine back home,
and
too.
The Last Jedi one. And then I've got Force Awakens over here somewhere.
Nice.
So anyhow, if you were in the Star Wars universe, what kind of profession or pursuit would you go for?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I've always been partial to kind of like the bounty hunter, gunslinger kind of mentality of as far as maybe I'd be in that kind of department as far as a character goes, at least in the Star Wars universe. Because I've always been partial to the Han Solo type character, even the Boba Fett character when I watched the original trilogy. So yeah, probably something like a Din Djarin Mandalorian type. I'd probably do.
Because that corner of Star Wars is fun because
yeah,
you're kind of operating outside the politics of the galaxy and
yeah,
kind of doing your own thing. And I would probably do something similar, operate in that zone.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
I would not want to be a Jedi because I am too lazy to do all that.
That's tough.
Anyhow, you've been doing amazing this season.
Thank you so much.
Great match the other day.
Appreciate that.
And unlike 50, I was rooting for you last year.
There you go. Amazing. I'll take it.
But yeah, so keep on loving Rise of Skywalker just like I do.
Yes, I will.
You are an awesome part of the Star Wars community.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Honestly.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
All right,
Thank you
man.
so much, Brennan. That is
Thank
incredible.
You,
Thank you, Brennan.
We love to see it. And one thing that we also really love is being able to have Andres here, if only for a brief moment, talking about your wonderful match. It's quite possible we'll be able to, I mean, we're definitely going to be able to talk about you again. We're very excited to see coming up soon. But now one thing that we do on this show is we like to give every competitor a little bit of time. If they have a promo to cut, if they have just any words in general, anything you want to say, we like to just give the floor completely over to you, good sir. So anything you have at it.
Yeah, let's do it. Thomas Harper, #1 draft pick in the Star Wars division. Not the #1 player in the Star Wars division. I'm coming after that title. I'm going to prove I'm the best. I'm going to prove that no one can stop me in this division and that I'm coming back for that title. So be on the lookout for me versus Harper taking you down. Facts.
There you go. Hell yeah, dude.
No cap.
Come on,
Ace. Come on, Ace.
We can't thank you enough for coming on this show, not once, but twice even. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on every single time. Is there anything you want the fine folks of the Outlaw Nation to check out while you're here?
Yeah, so obviously my YouTube channel is the best way for you guys to come in contact with me. That's at First Cut, which is also Sabrina and RB3 is on there. For anyone who knows, Sabrina is also on SEN. RB3 is a classic character and on SEN as well. So check us out there at First Cut. We have a couple videos on there. We had a video with Alex Morzonia talking about Asian filmmakers. We did our Army of the Dead spoiler review. We have a couple more videos coming out too. We also have Anime Sunday with me and Ben Goddard. Which is actually a thing now. We're doing it every Sunday is Anime Sunday. Last week we did My Hero Academia. The week before we did Jujutsu Kaisen. This week we might be talking about anime movies. So be on the lookout for that this Sunday, Anime Sunday, around 5 p.m. I believe. And obviously you can find me on Twitter at Squad Leader Race.
And Sabak the Block also.
And Sabak the Block.
Great show.
Talking about Bad Batch. Yes.
Oh, there you go. I think my first movie back in theaters was going to see Mugen Train.
Woo!
So I definitely have to make sure I check out that if y'all do wind up talking about anime movies, because that was an interesting trip.
Yeah.
I just started watching the series because Colin has been telling me to watch it, and so I will watch it quick enough to see the movie in theaters before it goes away.
There you go. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. We really appreciate it, and you have a good rest of your day, man. Again, we really can't thank you enough.
Honestly, guys, thank you.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, man.
Peace. Love y'all.
You too, buddy. Oh gosh, what an absolute gem. I feel like I say that every time
Class
like the
1A
competitor is
material.
immediately gone. I'm just like, what a swell person. I do that at work too. Anytime there's just like a nice customer who tips even like $1, sometimes I'm just like, what a sweetheart. What a good person. Well, wouldn't you know it, gang? But we haven't had another good person on this show. I don't know what it is, but not only do we keep finding the best of the best when it comes to competitors, we also just find the gosh danged nicest people that exist in this game of remembering things from films. And he is here to talk about not one, but two different teams' title matches. Or one title match, one contenders match, but they both felt like title matches because they were intense. But we have here an undisputed winner. A now multiple timed belted teams champion going after a perfect game. We could not be happier to be talking to one half of the current reigning? I don't know the terminology. He's a team's champion. That's all you need to know, doggone it. And we're so excited to have him. Everyone, please welcome the kid, Brendan Meyer. Brendan. Hello, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, dude, thank you
fun.
so much for coming on. Like, we couldn't be happier. Oh my gosh, I just finished watching the match, like truly after I hopped off work today. So I'm still kind of riding the high too. So I don't know how you're feeling, because man, that was a live event. So that was really just last night for you. How you feeling?
Yeah, man, it was a crazy thing. That match was a surreal. I'll talk to some people about it after. I mean, it's just a surreal thing because it starts and you're just dealing with the normal match nerves. But I will be honest, at a certain point, you do start thinking about the perfect game, largely because it was starting to look like we were going to have to do it. I think that's really why I started thinking about it. I was like, I think we may need every speed round question, or at least most of them. So yeah, it was weird to slowly experience, every round kind of getting through it, and that still being a possibility, while also knowing that if we miss the 5, we might just lose in sudden death or something. So it was crazy to have those two things going on at once through the whole match.
Absolutely, and we could feel the intensity even through the screen. Even though this is so differently and remote, it was still a high octane match, and we were so thrilled. I will ask, I don't know if we've run this by you first, so I just want to make sure that we do our due diligence here. Are you down to talk about both teams' matches that happened last night?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw both matches, and so very happy to break down the other one as well. Yes, which was also a crazy match.
That's true. Yeah, the kind of culmination of that teams tournament that we just had, obviously, with the Shazam sitting that one out and watching the press room kind of make their debut there. But we of course have now the winners of that tournament, Danger Zone, Dan Murrell and Ben Bateman, going up against Corruption, one of, I guess, probably now the oldest existing teams in the Schmoedown, which is very funny to think about because they formed right when I started watching, and I know that was still pretty recently. So it's very funny.
Yeah, they formed. That was right when I first started going to the studio, when I knew I was going to get a match at some point, and it was kind of right around then. So yeah, they've been together a long time. They've been together pretty much as long as I've been at all part of the Schmoedown community. So it's crazy to see them still there. And I mean, they've got to be close now. Like, how many other teams, like they might be one of the longest to ever, like, at any time, right? Not only are the oldest current team, but like, that's a long time, right? 3 years.
Yeah,
this is
something
the 4th
like
season.
that.
Technically, the 4th season.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the time is so different. I think we always just keep forgetting that like 2020 was a whole year, not just like 5 months that all just kind of got strung together somehow.
Yes.
I know.
The worst. But one thing that was not the worst,
and that it
match.
wasn't also 5 years too, because like sometimes it felt like 5 days, and sometimes 2020 felt like 5 years.
Right.
So it's messed up for everyone.
It was its own thing. It exists. It doesn't relate to any other part of time. Your past, it's just that was a thing, and everyone lived it.
Oh gosh, what a long, strange trip it's been. I'm gonna toss it on over to Boggs. Boggs, you're gonna be breaking down this number one contender match, so I'm gonna let you just go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, man, let's do it. So, just want to say again, thanks so much for coming on. 2-time champ. First of all, how does it feel to be, in that kind of illustrious club of being 2-time champs and, being so young and doing it as well and with Bibbs and Coy?
Yeah, man, it's really, really cool. I mean, it's fun to get that second time because, on my initial, especially last season, and I mean, I just wanted to win. I always just wanted to win it once. That's kind of almost has to be your mindset when you haven't done it yet, because just getting it once feels like such a huge task. But no, I mean, now having kind of done it, and especially getting to come back and anytime you end the season with a loss, you worry that it's just maybe, I mean, I definitely had those thoughts that like maybe just because the team's division is so difficult, like maybe that's kind of the biggest the real rejects but that was the biggest, that makes sense, but that was the biggest you're like, oh, are we going to win it again? So just to be back in that moment where there was still another great game for us to play and be lucky enough to win is exciting for sure.
Definitely. And so we'll just get into the match now. So, the Corruption and Danger Zone match. It starts off, I thought, with a fantastic promo. These guys got so many highlights, these four players, and, how kind of the amount of smack talk Ben was calling out Mike, and, Chance's last minute introduction in the promo saying, I'm not scared of Dan, I've kind of got his number. And, just with the whole super team thing. Yeah, I think that was the X factor in the match for me. It was Chance. It was like everyone's talking about Danger Zone and Mike's on form, but secretly Chance is just ticking along. And I think he was the X factor in this match. So, Colin, what are your overall thoughts on the promo and any kind of thoughts going into the match?
I have been waiting so long to see the Cobra unleashed and be able to be backed up by Mike, so it's not like so the conversation isn't always Chance pulling more of the weight. Mike was a champ in this match. The mindset was all game. He has just been taking all of the negativity, and it has all been pushing to this one moment where he's finally had the chance to silence all the doubters about, he's just IG. He's Chance's backup. Chance is the muscle. They were the Bash brothers in this match, and it really showed. And it didn't help that Danger Zone really backed themselves in a corner starting in round 1. It was just not really the best move from two champs right there. Like, you just don't really see 3 repeats used like that. And we talk about the importance in the last match about, how round 1 is so important. Not so much usually in a championship match when you have more opportunities to get those points back. So I know it's that kind of thing. So Brendan, what is that like when you look over and you see Dan Murrell, arguably one of the top player to ever play the game, is out here struggling?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was definitely, I don't think anybody was expecting Ben and Dan to struggle as much as that. But you know what? It happens sometimes, and it's crazy because especially, Ben is obviously a great player too, but especially Dan, the GOAT, you think of him as sort of invincible at times. But if they just put that right combination together, and it just happens to be the stuff that you don't know. I've had that happen in singles matches. I've been fortunate, knock on wood, that I haven't really done super poorly in a teams match, but in a lot of singles matches, I've run into ones where I just didn't know it or things like that, and it's definitely tough. And I think I think using those repeats, I think Ben and Dan knew that they had to keep that these matches, people have just been running through rounds 2 and 3. It's crazy. In both matches, ours and theirs, the misses were in that round, which is crazy because that's never really been the strategy ever. It's always been like, round one, you want to have a lead because you want to have more control over this and that, but there's always this. And just, specifically last night's event, it was like you needed every single one. And it's tough because going perfect really swings a lot of those matches. Like you saw, if one player goes perfect, or both players go perfect, and it's an extra 2 points, and that's a whole question in the final round, and can often push between 3 and 5,
Yeah, especially this being just a 3-round match. It was so when the first round finishing 15-10, you're already worried for Danger Zone at that point. So you're kind of waiting for them to slip up. But going into round 2, then obviously Corruption spun Spinner's Choice. The kind of element, let's say, and obviously they pick comic book movies.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, Bugs.
And they absolutely
It's freezing a little.
Bugs, you're freezing out on us a little bit. You're coming in and out, I'm afraid.
Am I good?
You're good. You're
Yeah.
good.
I'm back now. Yeah.
Okay, am I good now? No? Okay.
Yes.
I was fine on my end, so I don't know. Yeah, and then going obviously first round finishing 27-10, just seeing it on the scoreboard. It's really kind of daunting. They've already used their repeats as well, so they had the kind of back against it with Danger Zone, spinning off animated, landing on Francis Ford Coppola, and they did go perfect. So Brennan, any kind of overall thoughts on the second round? Second round, both teams going perfect, but yeah, the kind of biggest thing there with obviously they had the lead and they kept the lead, didn't they? 27-22, finishing in round 2.
Yeah, I mean that's just totally brutal when you're down 5 and the team goes and is perfect. That was a really daunting task for them. I mean, it was not exactly the same, but it's kind of like what we saw. They were a little bit further behind. Was Blackjack against Deception, but when you're down, what is it? Was it 17 points going into that round? I mean, that's like a lot because you're not even going to get like close to the lead for a while. So I think that it was great mental play from Ben and Dan to sort of center themselves and do as well as they did. I mean, obviously they also just knew the questions in Coppola, but that's a tough situation to be in a match where you feel like, especially because they talk so much. I think Ben talked about it either in the match or somewhere about just the difference between 5 and 6, and 5, you're always still in it. 6, you can just win it on the 2 and the 3. And to go into a round 2 with 6 questions where if you check down to multiple choice once, that's it. I thought that was totally intense. But I think another thing I wanted to mention when I was watching was I think it was really interesting to see the way Mike was, specifically Mike. I thought it was interesting the way he comes in with all this heat. There was all this smack talk between him and Ben, but you really saw him stay within himself the whole way through. You really, because I thought that was not that. I just thought, I imagine he was buzzing coming out of round 1. He's just scored better than both. I mean, he knew that happened and he was excited about it, but he knows how crazy the game is. He knows how no lead is safe. And so I enjoyed watching Mike, who was no doubt almost similar to what I was talking about with the perfect game, was having that, whoa, this could be something special. This could be a big win. But you could see he kind of kept it within himself and stayed focused on the task at hand, which I thought was great. Because when you have those kinds of hype and expectations on matches, it can be hard to do that, I find. So I was impressed with that.
That's funny because one of my favorite moments also was kind of from the end of round 2 where we got a cute little behind the scenes moment between Ben and Mike where Ben was just suddenly off the cuff just hey, when did the lollipop thing start? And it was just very fun to just kind of think about how far we've come. I don't know if anyone's found out the information for that. I almost want to say it was in quarantine. Because I feel it started because he used to do all of the different sweets and stuff. I remember he had a bunch he had ice cream against Janine for one of their matches. But I think it was there was some corruption match where he wasn't playing, but then he just pops up behind Shannon with a lollipop. And I think that's when it became the lollipop specifically. But I also could be wrong.
He's like Brad Pitt in the Ocean's movies too.
Yeah, he's got to be.
Brad Pitt's always eating, and ever since Pudding, he's just always been associated with food in the Schmoedown.
And the lollipops have to be much cheaper than always eating those ice creams because he used to have one ice cream in each hand, and that can get he has to send Christian his ice cream bill for the Schmoedown.
They were the Schmoedown champions last year, right? They got the pot. What else are they spending that money on?
That's right.
Yeah, so just on back of what you're saying there, Brendan, that the Mike's composure is really good. Like you said, he's going through all the stuff in the week. He just won the title last week. He's going through all this kind of online stuff this week from Ben and from his kind of his call to action guys, whatever, and dealing with all that heat. And he's so composed in the match. So he's got all these attributes. He's winning belts. How is he not on some people's rush mile? I'll never know, to be honest. But yeah, then going into round 3, so they kind of go back and forth. Danger Zone. Well, surprise, they hit the 2, 3, and 5 like they always do, and then they kind of put the pressure on Corruption to do so, and they pretty much do so as well. They hit their 2, 3, and 5 and pretty much win the match. So, and then just going to the end of the match, the post-match interview. Obviously, we've got they've obviously putting heat on Ben as well. Shannon's calling him out, Chance is calling him out, Mike is as well, saying Ben didn't deliver and all that. Just want your overall thoughts, Brendan, on Ben. Obviously Corruption win in the first place, but also just your random thoughts on kind of that tactic and strategy used by Ben to kind of put constant pressure on people, call them out, smack talk them, and then kind of it backfiring. I just want to know your overall thoughts on it, because you guys are obviously the face team.
It's tough, and it's good for the league, and it's exciting for these matches to have this kind of thing. But I that is hard. I have so much respect for Ben because I think it would. By the way, I don't think this happened in the match because we've seen Ben play so well so many times. But I think it would psych me out a little bit. Like, I think it'd add too much heat. I mean, when I'm going into a match, I'm trying to stay away from a lot of the conversations on social media and different places and some of the shows like this, because you just any little thing just kind of keeps amping you up. So it's a high risk, high reward strategy, because if you talk that big game and you win, I'm sure it's even a little sweeter. But when you lose, it's worse, I think. So definitely. And you make it, and you open yourself up, because when you talk that way, and then I think Chance and Mike felt a little bit of freedom to kind of go at him a little bit. So it's tough. I know Ben can handle it, but it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. You open yourself up to it for sure.
It's risky. We just had Ace the same question. I would like to ask him the same question. Do you prefer a live event in these digital matches or the pre-tape? Because I can imagine that the smack talk is a bit different on a Friday morning when you're looking at your Schmoedown stuff, as opposed to, however many weeks in advance you might have filmed the match. I can imagine that might be a bit different.
Yeah, it is. I mean, specifically when I played Ben last year in teams, like, that really was one of the first times where, it really felt like we were like about to do a fight in Vegas, because there was so much hype, you know what I mean? And I think we went on backstage and he was, talking, and that was before we were playing Final Exam, and he was talking, and then the day before he's tweeting out, all the times he's knocked us out, and and we had to go on with Jen and Brad, and that was the first one where I'm like, man, there's all these we're doing all this media stuff. I'm seeing this, stuff from Ben on Twitter. It's live. It's Friday. It was definitely, there was a lot of energy there that, wasn't always there, in studio. You'd feel it on the day, but everything was pre-taped there for the most part, except some of them, they were doing a few throwdowns there. So yeah, it was totally different when that kind of stuff is different. There's a totally different energy there when you are kind of in real time experiencing the smack talk, and you don't actually know who's going to win. You're not doing it to hype up the match. You are, but you're not doing it to do your part so that people watch something you already know happened. You really are living in that moment, and it's a lot. It's fun, but it adds to it for sure.
Yeah. So just on the back of that as well, Colin, you made a good point there. This match was actually spoiled for me, because I kind of knew by the people's reactions online who won before, because from the dungeon, no one tweeted out about this match. But I noticed from Corruption, Adam Collins, Shannon, Chance, Mike, were all tweeting out about, watch the pay-per-view, and stuff. And I just noticed no one from Corruption did it. Not Ben, not Dan, not Kaiser, not Mara, and I just thought, there's a bit of that happened on the Thursday. And I was like,
just got advanced tactics. My goodness.
Well, go Twitter, John. You should check it out. But yeah, so please, so as well at the end of the match, obviously Ben was saying, Mike is celebratory when he gets 6 points in the first round. And just your overall thoughts on the round, the match in total as well, and any questions for Brendan?
Yeah, with Dan was right in his post-match interview about the fact that like they went perfect in round 2, they got all their questions right in round 3, and Ben was one of the big reasons for them winning or them like getting those points but losing. And it's the mentality of like it's not just Ben who lost, it's the team that lost. But unfortunately for Bateman, he's the one that's talking the smack. So what everyone's going to remember out of this match and what people are going to talk online is Bateman talked shit and then he lost. and it's kind of one of those things. And so unfortunately, as someone who that's his character, that's what's the narrative that's going to come out of this. And it hurt. So like I could kind of feel for him in a little bit on that moment, but at the same time, it's just like, yep, you can handle it. This is what you're doing. This is your character work. And so that's kind of what I was thinking there. It's just like they went perfect in round 2 and round 3. And yet all that's going to be talked about is that they lost, and it's going to go straight to Ben Bateman. And no one's going to say a bad word about Dan because no one would ever dare to say a bad word about Dan.
Well, that's because Dan's going to beat you. That's the difference.
Yeah. And then the one thing that I found interesting too in the post-match is Dan calling out Roca, saying if Roca was his partner, it would have been a TKO. And I go, oh, that you're firing up the outlaw here. Goes
Dan
so
Hill's thoughts do not represent the hosts of the Ultimate Schmoedown After Show here on John Roca's YouTube channel.
Dan's opinions are his own.
I feel like we can say that factually. That's right. Brand new co-host. Colin, you're gone as well, too, I'm afraid. I think I'm gone probably. It's just going to be Brendan and Soul. Yeah, that's fair. But we have to talk about this match where I guess we have to change it from Shazam versus the Odd Couple to, by the end of the match, it sounded like Shazam versus the Otter Couple.
That's right.
Which is very fun, but it means we have to see Shazam versus the Otter Couple as an otter with 2 T's. We gotta be able to get that. I don't know if we can get like a sponsorship with like the LA Zoo to get that one happening. But
does Bibbs have an otter like plushie or something that he
I
can
have to
hold?
look into that. We've got the coyote. We've got the coyote, and now we need the otter. Someone needs to come in with that.
Well, while I go grab my stuffed otter from up on that shelf and just let him sit beside me, I'm going to toss it on over to Soul, who's going to be breaking down this match. But I think first thing we got to talk about Janine.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Like I have nothing but love and respect for Janine. It was the perfect choice to be picked to join. And like the fact that you were like, we're going to let them pick because we want a fair match. We don't want to give them someone that it's going to make it so that way they lose. We're going to let them pick, and picking Janine, especially after last week, going perfect in round 1 and round 2, and then only missing that 5 because she just has so much bad luck in this league, and her win-loss record does not reflect the player that she is. And I just love her so much, and she's going to get that belt in the future. Janine's the best.
Absolutely. No, it's Janine's had such an amazing last couple of matches and a great start to the year. I mean, she won a lot of matches early in the year too. But yeah, it's tough when you have those performances where you feel like you did more than enough to win most days. But I do think it'll come back. It'll swing back, and I think we'll see Janine kind of get a win when she plays well instead of losing when she plays so well. We need to see it. Yeah, I know. I already was, but I'll definitely be rooting for Janine the rest of the year because she's so due, especially after these last 2.
It's like your partner William Bibbiani said, God tier. Absolute God tier.
Yes.
That's right.
And the Schmoedown gods are kind if you are kind. That's a big thing in this game.
Yes.
If you're a good person and you're also good, then you get a fair amount of chances. So I'm so excited to see what's next for Janine. But we gotta still talk about this dang match. We keep talking about how great it was, but Soul, I think we're ready to hear about what actually happened in it.
Well, first I just want to go to the promo because I love the fact that Bibbs was reading Midnight Sun.
Yes.
And then it wasn't just that he was reading, it's like it was the actual physical copy of the book. That means that one of you guys bought the book.
It was Coy, wasn't it?
Hey man, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna keep it close to the best. Those are.
Which was that match where I had that giant jug of whiskey started sipping
Quirky
from? I was
Mercs
like, yep, you need that.
Quirky Merc Secrets.
Fair enough.
The owner of that book.
Sorry, but mom's coming in for a second.
That's all right. I'll read off this wonderful Streamlab we just got. Malcolm coming back in with another Streamlab. I think this is largely for Brennan, but it might be for all of us as I finish reading it. Now that the movies seem to be coming back in full force, are there any movies you're specifically looking forward to? I'm interested in Dune, Old, and Last Night in Soho. I'll add In the Heights to that list for sure.
In the Heights, definitely In the Heights.
Yeah. I mean, all the ones that I mentioned, I'm looking forward to. I think I'm especially looking forward to Last Night in Soho. I think that looks really great. I watched like 45 seconds of the trailer and shut it off. And yeah, I'm finally going back to the theaters, being vaccinated and everything. So I saw the In the Heights trailer for the first time on the big screen last week. And it was like, oh man, that is exactly what I want to see, something like that on the big screen. I'm so glad that movies are coming back a little bit. And we could see that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, I'm excited to finally see the Bond movie. I mean, it's been so long. No Time to Die. That one bubbles up to the top of my mind.
Black
the correct
Widow.
answer is The Green Knight.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
The Green Knight.
Sure.
Yeah.
2020 robbed us of many things.
Yeah.
But it robbed us of the year of Dev Patel. He was going to have like 3 or 4 movies come out, and it was going to be like, oh, here we go. He was going to get some.
Has no one got to mention the Hitman's wife's bodyguard? Or what? Is it Hitman's girlfriend's bodyguard, or is it Hitman's what? How is Salma
It's the
Hayek
wife.
related to the Hitman or
Wow,
bodyguard?
somebody is going to miss a Schmoedown question writing wife instead of girlfriend in the next 12 months, and I'm.
That's
gonna make
me
sure it's not
calling
me
my
now.
shot. Oh gosh, we love film here.
Yeah, of course. Well, as you know, so do I. So no, I'm so excited. The stuff. I'm excited for the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie, even though I know nothing about it. I'm excited that we're getting a new Paul Thomas Anderson movie. So that'll
Wes
be cool.
Anderson too. Fresh.
I knew Wes Anderson too. That's right. Yeah.
Boy.
We're gonna be bombarded with so many movies that were supposed to come out last
I
last
know.
year, that it's gonna be like, oh, another movie, and then another one, and then another one.
Yeah.
So it's definitely gonna make when we get to Oscar season very interesting.
Yeah,
For sure.
it's gonna be a stacked year for sure, and all those things. I mean, I just like when I hear all those names, Dune, Old. It's so exciting to know that the opportunity is potentially going to be there to see those things in the theater too, as people keep getting vaccinated and everything. So it's awesome.
Yes, definitely. But getting back to the match, got to keep things on board, right, John?
I've been so bad at it this episode. I'm usually so good at keeping the train on the tracks, and this time I've been the one willingly picking it up and placing it somewhere different. But round one, what we had placed, sort of a segue. A lot of right answers, Soul.
Yeah.
A lot of right answers. That is correct. We had Jeff missing the next Friday question. Did write the answer for the third movie, but so he was in the right ballpark. Black cinema rears its head again in a match. And then we have Janine missing the Point Break. And this is, again, where round one is so important. You have 2 players who miss 1 question, and still a great round. Missing 1 question is still a great round.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have 2 players that go perfect. And so then you get those extra 2 points on top of that. So I was going to say, Brendan, when you saw, okay, we're up 4 points now after round one, where was your thought process there?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can be up after round one, it feels good because, I mean, in a 3-rounder, it's, as we've talked about, it's a little more important, in a 5-rounder, you've got the betting round, you've got the speed round. But regardless, it's really great because going into round 2, which is the round that I guess the most points are available, aside from round 1, you kind of know now that you just kind of have to sort of, they have to beat you by a net more than 4 points, which I always kind of relaxes me a little bit, because even if they go perfect like they did, you're like, oh, well, we'll always still be winning this match as long as we get 9 or more. And I always find that to be a lot more settling, than the alternative, where if you're down, then you feel this immense pressure. Even if you go first, if you go first and you're down, you are like, oh, well, every time we go down to multiple choice, we could potentially be giving them points because they could go perfect, and you just don't know. I mean, that's why I always like to go second in matches usually anyway, is just I like to know what they did so I can more accurately kind of understand what's going on. And again, more in a 3-rounder, because that really is huge. You're trying to get the lead going into round 3, whereas in this you can be up by a lot, and if the betting round doesn't go your way or the speed round, you're going to lose it anyway. But yeah, in a 3-round. So yeah, I mean, I was excited that we were up, but I also knew we were at the 5-rounder. It's a marathon, right? So you're sort of just like, they're like, you see them behind you and you're like, they have a lot of time to catch us. So I'm not too, I'm just keep going forward.
And I find it fascinating, the strategy behind going first or second in round 2, because you have the team like Corruption who loves to go first, because if they are up after round 1 and then they go first, seeing that deficit, seeing that like 27-10 in the previous match, like you look at that and that's scary tasks to do. But then also going second is also great, because you're like, okay, we know what they did. Now I know exactly how well I need to do. So I always find it fascinating on like where people fall on whether wanting to go first or second. So Boggs, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's almost like a standard that Shazam are going to go perfect in round 1 now. As crazy as that is and sounds,
don't put that on
such
man.
It's such a good attribute to have.
Ricky Bobby.
Like, yeah, I mean, obviously spoilers, but like you guys went perfect all match, and the ability to. I mean, if you guys are doing that, you've won the title for the second time. You're now going to play Corruption, which are literally proving to be the greatest team that we've ever seen in this round. So I just love the way you guys are playing and the camaraderie, even in the promos beforehand. Yeah, Bib's acting is good. Like I just find it really funny, and doing the whole can I have their dresses? Because that's really weird. Actually, I just loved it all.
The
man.
Dutch
Yeah,
angle
so
of like
and
his camera every time he plays is never gonna not trip me up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, obviously, you did come off lost a bit earlier on in the season, of course, to someone you're going to be playing a bit later. But yeah, was that did you make a point of thinking? Did you have that pressure going in because you and Bibbs both lost in your singles matches going into the match? So was that kind of something? I'm jinxing everything, but yeah, just going into the. Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Now.
Yep. Yeah, you just got out for like a second. It's all good.
Oh,
okay.
Dear sweet boy.
Wait, now.
Okay. Oh. No, I was just going to say you're both coming off.
Go. You're good now. You're good now. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I'm fine, man. I don't know. I can't see. But yeah, going from guys coming from losses into this match, big title match, a lot of shenanigans going on in the week with who's going to play for the odd couple and stuff. How was the pressure going in? Compared to other title matches that you've had or other kind of big matches. I was just wondering.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like what I was alluding to a little earlier in the interview. It's like when I would say I was relaxed a little bit by the final exam win. I think I was almost a little more nervous not more nervous. I felt more pressure almost going into that one as far as the losses. I think the losses affected me more in that, where it was like, oh man, like I've lost my last 2 singles matches and I lost the team's title. And yeah, you just kind of get like, you sort of, I'm sure any competitor will say this, when you've won matches, even though you're never cocky or anything, you kind of feel this energy of like, well, I'm going to play Schmoedown, and that's something where I win I'm winning, so maybe I'll just win this one. I mean, it's going to be tough. Where as soon as you lose, I find it very hard. You transition back, you go, well, this is Schmoedown, that thing that I lose, and and you just sort of, you start to get a little tight. You're like, oh man. And so yeah, those losses really get to you, and that's why the final exam match, a team that we've won twice, but that's a team that's always going to scare me. And I don't even think I think that's a team that can just beat us straight up. Like, it's not even a thing of like, oh, if it's their day. Like, I just think that's such a good team. And the first time we played, it was really close. And today it was just everything went our way early this year. But yeah, going into this title match, there was definitely some pressure. I mean, I really liked. I mean, it was exciting to be close to 10-2. I thought that was a really cool, like, and I just really wanted to hit double digits in general because I thought that was such a cool achievement. And you know, like I said, when you have it in front of you, you always want to do it because you're like, we lose this, and then maybe in 3 months we play Danger Zone, you know what I mean? And then we could lose that. And you just, you know, every match you just want to take full advantage. And so, yeah, that pressure all comes into it. But I think what's nice, I find for myself, I've kind of now played so much that there is a certain degree of like muscle memory almost to playing it. You know, it's all that stuff is very stressful in the lead up to it, especially like the day before and the day of. But I find when I get in the match, it just kind of, you just accept it. You're there. It's finally time. You answer the questions, and I have a certain comfortability with doing that. You know, it is a familiar feeling, which is nice.
No routine, yeah.
Absolutely. And it was interesting as well to kind of look at, I'm going to kind of just say, wrap 3 and 4 in a nice little bow here, because again, it's very interesting to see just this element of how this 5-rounder is much more of a marathon than a sprint. It's like what Coy was saying kind of in the middle of the match. I remember him going like, guys, don't forget, like, these matches can be, like, especially mentally taxing. Like, I get it. He made sure to do, like, a lovely little mental health check-in as well during one of the rounds as well. But, yeah, just, like, keeping up that momentum, not, like, passing on anything in round 4, betting the full 3, and then that gamble paying off in round 3. I mean, again, just, like, kind of going after just a lot of, like, big shots to keep yourself in that same, like, position coming into round 5, which is then oftentimes kind of the make or break. It's always like, it always seems to be usually like round 1 or round 5, where it's either like those couple misses at the top or like that one tough question where it's just like, oh, I just can't pull it. And then so like you were kind of still in that position where, again, like the lead was so slim, as we were talking about, like that difference between like 5 points and 6 points, where it was just like that 5. So like it really was going to come down to the wire. So like, was that something where you were thinking about that, or were you just kind of more like, we're so close, we can just do what we have left to do, thinking about those JTEs and just trying to be like thinking more of the questions maybe than of the match itself?
Yeah, absolutely. I was trying not to get ahead of myself. And, you know, it's interesting. I find that the digital format 5-rounder, especially in teams, is just way more mentally taxing, I think, than almost any other form, because you keep having to leave. Like, you keep having to go into a waiting room. You do it in rounds 2, 3, and during the speed round. And that's not even, you know, you only do it, I think, in a singles 5-rounder, you only do it during the speed round, right? I think that they, you know, stay
I think that's correct. Because,
so
you still are
and you can steal, and, you know, it's not the whole conferring thing, you know? So, yeah, I find that really difficult because you're always kind of in the match, and then you have to go sit in a quiet StreamYard where you have nothing to think about but the match, where you're at, what it would mean to win. So the nice thing in teams is usually Bibbs is in there with me. So we just talk about, you know, we just say positive stuff. I mean, that's really the strategy for me. You know, I go in there and I just go, hey, you know, man, I mean, and again, it's funny because like most of this is, you know, obviously is not even fully true because you want to win, but you'll get in there and you go, look, man, it really doesn't matter because we played great. We had a great round 1. We had a great round 2. So even if we lose this match, you know, it's really not, it's not the end of the world. We haven't messed, like, you know, you just say that, you know, and in a good way, you're like, hey, we're having fun. This is good. And you just kind of have to do that, you know, those positive affirmations, because you need to be coming back.
Say it until you believe it.
Yeah, totally. And you really need to be coming back into the StreamYard, whether it's, you know, to answer round 2 questions or whatever, as Colin returns to the StreamYard. But as you're coming back, you get up there and it's a 5-rounder, but it's a straight shot. You know, you feel a part of it. Still stressful, but it's way different than this constant reset. It's a whole different way to play, really.
Absolutely.
And you can definitely see it in when competitors come back, like the ones who go way into the other StreamYard, and then it's like they're probably still thinking about the match and they're thinking about it in a negative way. You could see it when they come back into the main one, whereas the ones who are staying positive, who are you could see it even the people who are down but they're staying positive, when they come back, and you could see that fight in them. And so it's kind of funny to see that, like, they're taken away and then brought back in, and it's just like you have that little like respite, that little break there.
Yeah.
All right. And then we look at that round 5. where it's just back and forth, back and forth. I mean, you know, talking about Janine and the incredible work she did as well with that Sound of Music drapes 5-pointer pull, where it's like very clear that Jeff was just completely like on an island in an entirely different world for that one, and Janine was just there to completely nail it and really keep things competitive. Like we said, like keep it all the way up until the 5 at least. And then with that, the finest hours pull, where it like did kind of like take that second you needed to like be able to meditate on it, and just like being able to pull that. I mean, what can you say really about other than the fact that the Otter couple just kept things so competitive and was just, again, like such a surprise, like matchup pair up for this title match, but one that worked so well in a way that I think it's just like, it goes to show why like Janine is such a great teams player as well. Like back in her time with the Time Machine, there are a lot of these legacy players that people talk about as the GOATs who have some real gaps, and Janine is able to fill those gaps just like perfectly to keep things competitive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that it'll be interesting to see if they stay as a team. I mean, it sounded like from the way Jeff was talking that they maybe will. So that would be exciting. And because Jacoby is a great player too, so that's maybe now two great. They will still have whoever they find for him to partner with. They could definitely get those two great teams, you know, which they already had in Odd Couple and Blackjack. I think that now just pulling Janine up and putting someone in, that they should be able to still have two really good teams.
Yeah.
And with Janine, really, like, you saw in this match that Jeff was kind of taking the background, the supportive role. Like, I'm going to let Janine take charge because I know she knows the answer. You saw that with Frank Capra. You saw that with the musicals. It's like, Janine, I fully 100% trust in you. And it's so good to see that in a first match when two people are working together, because you never know if the chemistry is going to be there or not. And the chemistry definitely was there. And Jeff was super supportive. And we've talked that in the moment of when you saw JTE and Roka playing together, where it's like, I'm going to let JTE run this round too because he knows it better than I do. And I'm just going to be the support. And I love seeing that in teams.
No, and it's important. And I mean, I think it's also a big part of the team's game when, you know, your partner, when you spin something that your partner is really, really good at, making sure that you're supportive and, you know, helping them to trust their gut or not, or like how you interact in that way is important, you know, because, you know, if your partner is thinking about something and you are too like, if you don't, unless you know, as you saw with the Finest Hours thing, I was pretty sure that wasn't it. And I think he got it right away anyway, but like, I definitely did say something because I was pretty sure I knew it wasn't Deepwater Horizon at least. And so, but it's important to not do that too much, right? Because, you know, you see these matches, if your partner's like, saw with Bibbs, he knew with that Marty Feldman thing, like there's a lot of things where you don't want to be too like, are you sure that's it? I don't know. It could be not that, or are you sure? Are you sure? Like even asking someone, are you sure is you have to be sure what you're doing there. And it's the same way because you can just totally talk yourself out of right answers, you know?
Yeah, we saw that with Ace earlier too, where he said 11 instead of 8, which he talked himself out of saying the right answer therefore didn't get the KO.
That happened. I mean, I don't know if I said it. I mean, I actually had like the right answer twice on these matches. Not this one obviously, but Chance and the final exam match, I would have had a perfect round. I erased the wrong answer and wrote something else because I thought a little bit too long or had the wrong thing come into your mind. It happens, you know. But at the same time, I've made the mistake where, you know, I've not gone multiple because I was sure the first thing that went in my head was right, you know. So it's always you can never have a set strategy because sometimes the first thing that comes into your head is 100% right. And if you think too much, it's wrong. And sometimes if you don't think about it enough, you miss. So it's always, you know, a big struggle to sort of make sure you're giving every question the appropriate amount of time.
It's tricky game.
Yeah. tricky game. Speaking of appropriate amount of time, I think it's about time that we dip into some of these Discord questions. See, I'm getting better. Yes. I'm remembering how to do my job. Live on air Saturday night. Soul, let's hear some of these Discord questions.
Yeah. So first off, we got from Jeremy Miller going, favorite thing you've gotten from the Salt Cat soap store?
Favorite thing from everything I've gotten?
Oh boy.
Well, I mean, I got some really great, like a Shazam. There was a Shazam soap, and I've had a lot of different. They're so good. And even when we were doing the scene, Bibbs gave like a really great little one. that I took back, and so it's awesome. But yeah, no, definitely check out Salt Cat Soap. It's so good, and Bibbs, and they're so creative with the way they come up with stuff, and yeah, I was just talking to my mom. I think she's looking to get some too because she's used it. She loves it. So
yeah,
I think
definitely go check it out.
That's true. My birthday's coming up, Colin.
I already handed you something.
That's true. Oh, I don't like that. I realized what he was talking about.
Now going on to Drunken Prayer goes, first, huge congratulations. Question, if you could go back and be in any TV show as a main character, what show would you pick?
Ooh, and go back and go in any show as a main character. Trying to think. You know what show I liked? I mean, I'm just thinking because it's funny. I funnily enough do not watch a lot of television because I'm so obsessed with movies. But I think the type of show that I love, which is I was a big Boardwalk Empire fan, and I love gangster shows. And I love the period, and yeah, man, I think it would have been amazing to be a lead role in that with those suits and doing backroom deals and
who
all that.
Who would you want to have offed you if you got killed on the show? Who would have you know?
Ooh, I'm trying to think of all the different people. I mean,
yeah, right.
I think Jack Houston, the hero. You know, he was the guy. Come on. I mean, that was the move. If you're gonna go, you got to go by him.
Just
now
get
I
kicked
see
into the back of a Ford car and then bam. And then you get driven
Bobby
off into the
Cannavale
forest.
was so great on that show too. That one season he was on, Bobby Cannavale was so good. That one season he was on too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see now that when we get back to in studio matches, now you and Bibbs like dressing up as gangsters. That needs to be the next thing you guys do.
That's right.
He has a pocket watch. I could see Bibbs very much rocking a pocket watch and
That's
kind
right.
of fiddling with it.
I think Coy would have fun with that too. I think he would.
Yes.
You just give Coy's internet just like a gangster offing.
Sleeveless waistcoat.
There you go, exactly. Concrete shoes.
And then we have from Chris Taylor going, biggest lesson that you've learned in the digital era?
Biggest lesson. Interesting. I'm trying to think. The biggest lesson. Yeah, I'm trying to think as well, and how it would carry over back to it. I mean, I kind of said it earlier, but that's what is coming to mind is just sort of the mental preparation that you need to have within the match and kind of practicing. And so I think remembering that, I think has been great, and I think will help in a lot of Schmoedown stuff. And I think just that will help in life things too. These kinds of things where you're forced to sort of be in something and also sort of, react to it. And it's about creating that space, right? So even if you're in it, you're not being controlled by the moment. You're still sort of creating space to reflect and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's probably the best thing that I feel like I'm learning in these matches. Because I found the first few digital matches, I think that's the most kind of like jittery I've been playing the game, because it was just so new, and I was alone, and there was no energy of the crowd, and it was so I definitely feel like it's been nice to sort of get more comfortable with that, because I was nervous, but I never had that same stuff in the studio, I feel like. Because it was more exciting,
Right. You have people there in the crowd.
Yeah,
so
and the day's fun, and there's other, yeah.
And then, now we have from Tushka, he's our Quirky Mercs fan in Roka's Discord. He goes, the Mercs have so much energy as a team and as individuals. Who is the chillest player on the team?
Ooh, the chillest person on the Quirky Mercs. I don't even know.
Jesse Swift.
I don't know. Everyone's got great personality. Who's chill? Who's the chillest person on the team? I mean, certainly I feel like when he's in game mode, Dimalanta is so locked in. I feel like he's a guy that can just he can settle in when he's in the game. He can just totally settle in and have that focus. But everyone's really fun to hang out with. I think that's what's fun about the whole thing.
Yeah, and it was cool to see you guys were like, oh, they're in the same room together. It was like one of the in the promos too. It's like seeing you guys actually together. I can't wait till we have that going forward.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, that's the first time we had all been in the same room together since I think like February 2010 or whatever, one of the studio tapings, you know?
Oh, fair enough. And hey, look at that.
Speak of the devil.
Good to see you, Jesse.
Speak
All
of the
right.
devil.
I love it.
And then our last question here is from Malcolm saying, thank you for bringing the sharpest combination of pure joy, class, and deadly skill to the Schmoedown every time you play. As Bib's partner, I imagine you get at least 1 bar of soap per week sent to your house. Which has been your favorite so far, if you can choose?
Oh, yeah, that's it. Oh, I think we had that answer before. Yeah, there's a great one. Damn soap. Yeah.
The ones that get sent to your house for free are probably the ones. That
I don't want to be free. I also want to contribute. I want to pay for it. But yes, I've gotten some nice ones, and I got to buy the next one though.
Definitely.
Fair enough.
So everyone go check them out because they all look super awesome. I haven't bought one yet, but like I have them like saved as like to buy, and I'm like next paycheck getting that soap.
Oh yeah. I just saw Malcolm's comment in the comments. Alrighty. Well, I believe if that's it for Discord questions, we do have 2 quick patrons who are here, which by the way, hey gang, patreon.com/John Roca. You can come on the show like these 2 people are about to and ask our wonderful guests who are very generous with their time. You get to take a little bit of it and you get to ask that burning question that you have. And it's time to hear some of these burning questions. First up from a constant friend of the show, we got Canada Rocks here with us today. Canada.
Hey, hi, Brandon.
Nice to see
Hey,
you.
everyone.
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
Before I go on, I think you would have been great in a Three's Company reboot.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But all right. So I'm going to ask you a question because the one thing, and it is like you perpetuate the Canadian stereotype of being nice, which is hard on the rest of us, because we got to keep that up. And I'm a curmudgeonly old man, right? So I have a question that goes, I think, a little bit against your nature. What do you think? What do you think you and Bibbs have to do to be considered the greatest team that ever played? Like I know my answer, but so what is it that you have to do from now on? Because you guys are close. I'm telling you, you guys are close, but what do you need to do?
Yeah. Well, I do think, look, I genuinely believe this. That is a thing where it's going to be hard to ever say that definitively about any team. I do feel like it's going to be more of this Rushmore type thing. And I'd like to think that we're at the point now where we're one of those 4, I mean, Patriots, Shire, Wolves. But to have a really, really good case, I mean, I think defending the belt certainly is a big one. I think that's just a thing that you can still say about the team. And so it'd be nice. That would be a great thing to do. Yeah, 1 more win. I mean, I think the most wins ever would be 11 at one team to do. So yeah, it just depends. I mean, I think that this corruption match is a big one though, because not so much that one match decides it all, but they also could get really close to having a very similar record. I think are they 8-3 now? Is that what it is? So 9-3 with a win. Then maybe they defend. I mean, then they could go. And then, of course, you've still got a team like Danger Zone, which if they were to play here on out, I mean, if they were to go like 6-1 and then beat us.
No. Danger Zone, not going to happen. Ain't no. I'm sorry. I don't care how much they win. They no, please go. Like, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
What show are you on? Did you even check what the network?
I think that John, I mean that too. I think Rushmore could do the same because they only have the 1 loss too. So that's what I'm saying. They were the first one that came to mind, but I'm just saying because they just played. They just played. No, I know. I'm just being funny too. But no, I mean, look, to give the most honest answer, I really do think defending this 11-2 would be definitely a huge step towards. I mean, that's very, very. That's a big step towards, I think, what I believe is the real thing, where I think then you'd have to kind of include us. If you rattle off the names, I think maybe they're already there, but I definitely think defending it, that would help a lot in that now going forward, it's going to be like, oh, this new team could be one of the greats, like this. I think we're pretty close to being one of those people that you mentioned. And that's why I wanted to get to 10-2 so badly, because, to be that's the one thing that no one had, and it's, so I was excited about that. Especially when, go ahead. No, I was saying, especially when 8-2 at the beginning of the season, you lose a couple matches and you're just like 8-4. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, it was totally hard to get there.
how very un-Canadian of you, and I love that answer. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the question, dude, as well. We really appreciate you every
thank
single
you, thank
time.
you.
I hope you didn't take my digs at the movie Little Italy
Oh.
too seriously against the films of your entire...
I'll tell you, I hate that film, man. I'll tell you
There we
why.
go.
Because the place where they shoot is actually not in Little Italy. It's a restaurant that's in the annex and not Little Italy, and like they couldn't even get that right.
The biggest sin of cinema. Thank you so much, dude.
Right.
And we have our second patron here as well, as I thought he'd be coming back, and we always love it. We got Drunken Prayer returning once more for another excellent question.
Yeah, we wouldn't go that far. First of all, Brent, just want to say congratulations. There was a bunch of us watching in Roka's Discord, and your reaction at the end of the match. You looked like you were nearly in tears. We were all so happy for you. You looked so overjoyed. So first of all, congratulations on that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's always a lot when you get to the end of the match, because there's just you know when you're playing, you carry around this hope that you have a moment like that. So when it actually happens, it is usually whoa.
But anyway, I'm not just sucking up to you. That does lead into my question.
Sure. I'll take the sucking up too, man. It's like whatever, I'm just
You got to give and you got to take on this.
But it does lead into my question, which was, you're obviously quite new to this league overall, I would say. You've been 2 seasons, maybe? Is that right?
Yeah, this is the 3rd season. Yeah. No,
third
certainly.
season. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Well, but it's only just started, so yeah.
So what would you say your proudest moment is in the Schmoedown so far?
I think in many ways it probably will always be the first title win. I think that's the moment. That was the best moment and the proudest moment because, we started the first year and I played with Bibbs and we got to the title match of Spectacular against Founding Fathers and we lost. And it's tough because, at that point, Bibbs hadn't won the team's belts. And I felt not only did I just really, really want to be able to say that I was a champion, I really wanted to do it with Bibbs and I wanted it for him. And so, going into that match against KOrruption the first time, it was just, oh man, it was just, I so wanted it so bad, and you always want to win, but it also felt like that first time against Founding Fathers, we wanted it so bad, but there was a feeling of this is the first year, we've already won 5 matches, hopefully we win, but maybe it's just not our day and we'll have to wait our turn and whatever. Whereas that one, I was like, no, we have to do it. We can't lose 2 title matches in a row. We have to seal the deal. And so to have that day go our way, and we played really well in that match too, and it was just really great. So I think that's always going to be the proudest moment. But I don't know, it was fun. The first free for all was a great moment too. Getting to go do that, and that whole experience of essentially showing up as an 0-1 player who really had not much going on. I mean, I was still part of the community and stuff, and it was fun. But I was I think I talked to someone in the green room, and I was like, dude, I don't even know when I'll get another match. I mean, who knows, And so to kind of weirdly go up and then come back down, whatever, an hour later, and also it was weird because I had a bunch of friends there, and it was the same week as the premiere of the 2nd season of the OA the show is on. So I actually had a lot of family there anyway for that and my grandparents stuff. And so I was doing this run, the free for all. And I was I just invited people because I was I've been talking about it. And I was I know I lost the first match. I'm just so you know, guys, the format works a certain way. I could literally be gone in a minute. You know what I mean? I literally could last a minute, but I want everyone to come. And so to actually be able to do so well, with everyone there, it was just so fun. People still talk about how much fun that was, friends who went and stuff like that. I think it was fun because they got to root me on. It's not I actually just showed up and was out right away. So that was a fun day.
And that's definitely where you
guest passes.
Yeah, that's definitely where you went over with the fans as well too. That was that moment because usually when you lose your first match, it's just oh, I wonder when you're gonna see them again. And that free for all match cemented who you were going to be in this league. It's you went over with the fans. People were who is this kid? Because we saw him play once, but that free for all really probably just lasting that long is it did so much for your Schmoedown career.
Yeah, and it's weird too because to me it's always surreal that day that happened that way because it's really the event that luck is the biggest part of too. So as much as I always believed in my abilities and thought I was a good player, it's like good players go out in like one round in the free for all the time, you know? So to kind of have your Schmoedown career saved or, you know, emboldened by that event is wild, you know, because that's just a magic thing, you know.
Or you see your partner walking on stage and going, "Oh crap, it's Bub's coming on. He's going to clear the table at some point."
Well, that day that is true because we didn't know where everybody was, and so I knew I was 4 or whatever. But I was like, "Oh, you know, I'm 4, but you know, who knows?" And then I got there and I'm like, "Oh, so William Bibbiani and Rachel Cushing are on the table too." So my 1 in 5 chance of being the first person eliminated is now a 1 in 3 chance. That's great because those guys aren't going out on the first table. So yeah, no, that was fun, but it was a fun day. It all worked out.
Yeah, playing against them too must be like Russian roulette. You see them too. You're like, "Oh
yeah,
if I play Rachel and Bibs, oh no."
I know. Well, we saw that a lot this year too, with just like every table was like insanely stacked.
Truly. Well, thank you so much, Drunken Prayer, for the question. Yeah, I know you got a Patreon match to jump to. Good luck to you. And Brendan, doggone it, man. We can't say enough lovely things about you. We all can't stop talking about how not only kind you are and how much that's appreciated, but also just the fact that you're so good at the game. And we get to keep seeing you being nice because you're also so good at remembering things from movies. It's the absolute best, and we just did have to make sure that we talk about just how grateful we are that you were willing to spend your time here with us, spend a whole afternoon. We really appreciate that.
No, thanks for having me on, guys. I love getting to talk about the game with people who are as passionate about it as I am, because it's so much fun. And that's the thing. I feel like that's exploded so much in the digital era, all these different shows and people who love the Schmoedown getting to talk about it and getting to share in it. And it's just so much fun. And even though it does add some pressure sometimes before matches, it's it's very fun. I'm so happy. So no, thanks for having me on. It was my pleasure.
Of course, and not to add more pressure to that, but one thing that we've started doing now at this show is we give the competitors that come on a chance, should they, on the one hand, maybe want to cut a little bit of a promo to whoever they're facing, or if you just want to say whatever's on your mind, whatever final thoughts you have about this wondrous week of Schmoedown, any plugs even that you have. Just truly, we want to completely cede the floor to you and anything that you feel you have weighing on your heart. So the floor is now yours.
All right. Well, I think I might as well say something to the team we're going to play in Corruption, and very impressed with how they played against Danger Zone. We know how good they are, and I hope they're ready, because I know that we're probably looking at another massive high accuracy match. And so, I know how hard Chance and Mike work, and I just want them to know that we're working just as hard. So I'm looking forward to it.
There you go. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for coming onto the show. Truly, we can't thank you enough, man. I'm just repeating the same things over and over like a fool. But really, this was wonderful. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Same to you guys.
Appreciate it,
man.
man.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye, guys.
Have a good rest of your night, man. All right. And with that said, we've come up to the 2 hour
of picks.
Oh, there you go. Oh gosh. What's happened to our brains? What's happened to us as a family? We're at 2 hours and 13 minutes. We gotta keep this boat rolling with our final segment on the show, which is picks for the next week. We got 3 matches, if I'm not mistaken, to talk about, which means we gotta first bring our producer Sean on to talk about these matches, because he's gonna make his picks as well. But then we gotta look over at Soul to hear how folks are doing at the moment.
Yeah, so right now, and we're going to get later and solve this we weren't able to get Colin's picks last week, but currently right now, on the points-wise, we have Colin and John in last place with 29 points. We have myself with 35 points because I went perfect this week, eh? And then we have Sean with 38 points and Boggs in the lead still with 39 points.
I don't like that for me. I'll be honest. I don't love that for me. But I love that for Boggs. So I guess we're going to talk about this first. Colin is immediately into it. Colin, I'm going to bounce it right over to you. We got 2 big Star Wars heads going up against each other about remembering things from Star Wars. Who's going to win?
This is going 10 plus rounds of overtime, Thomas Harper squeaks it out.
Bold claim going with the rookie. Boggs, what about you?
You know, I said before, I'll say it again. I don't bet against Ace. I'm sorry, he's earned it. I don't care who's playing. I don't care what situation it is. I don't care what circumstance it is, if it's title, if it's whatever, what division. I'm going for Ace. I don't care. I love Thomas. Great guys. Met him loads of times. Awesome player. I'm still going for Ace.
Fair enough. Soul, I know you happen to have a certain faction near and dear to your heart. Is that going to be the thing that decides your pick this time around?
This is not about the faction, but this is about Ace. Because I love Thomas Harper, but it's Ace all the way. I will never bet against Ace.
There you go. Fair enough. Sean, what about you? Where are you betting?
Sean, come on.
I have no idea. I've been just going back and forth this whole time. I was leaning towards Thomas Harper this whole time, but I don't know, just seeing Ace on screen today, he's swaying me, so I'm gonna go Ace.
There you go.
And I butchered your name. I butchered Ace's name last week, so I apologize for that, but I'm going with Ace.
Oh, fair enough. I definitely agree with Colin that we're going into overtime. I definitely think that's on the table. But I gotta be honest, I gotta side with the rest of the group. I'm going with Ace. I think that this tournament setup specifically is going to be the thing that gives Thomas Harper that first loss on his record, because it happens to the best of us. It happens to every single person. We all take that loss in life, and I think this will be the moment that Thomas gets his first loss in the Schmoedown. But we, of course, love Thomas, and it'll be his one, maybe only loss for quite a hot second. Next up, we got to talk about some insane singles matches, some crazy ones. Ethan Irwin going up against Paul Oyama. Again, S.W.A.G, Paul Oyama, usual suspects with Ethan Irwin. These are two of my favorite players, and it makes me very scared to see what's going to happen to one of them. Starting over with Boggs, who do you think has this one?
Honestly, no clue. I have absolutely no clue. It's like a coin toss. I'm scared I might go 0-3 this week, by the way. But I will say Ethan Irwin.
There we go. Just following his heart.
Based on almost nothing.
Fair. Soul, who do you have, and what are you basing it on, if anything?
Paul Oyama has that fire this year. He is so focused. S.W.A.G, drip, drip, Paul Oyama all day.
I gotta be honest, I think I'm with Soul on this one. I think this is the year of Paul Oyama. I think this is the year where he's really, he had that first Dynamite year. He had that sort of lackluster sophomore year. I feel like what we've seen of him right now, I think he's going to be able to clinch it. Again, going to be a tight race, but I think Paul will eke it out at the very end there. Sean, what about you?
It's Oyama.
Your wrist is going to win. That's a bold choice. Okay, that makes more sense. And then Colin, what say you?
I think Sean and I both owe Damian Lillard some money for tapping our wrist. I think he's copyrighted that. But yeah, check the clock. It's Paul Oyama time.
Definitely let us know if we get that DMCA takedown email,
you know.
Sean. That'll be important.
Sure.
Oh, excellent.
Well, I'll get one.
Thank you so much. One or the other. We'll all go. Aw, nice little family thing. And then we have Ben Bateman of the Dungeon of Danger Zone going up against the outlaw John Roca, whose very channel we reside upon. This one is going to be intense. It's really tough to pick a winner for this one, so I'm going to bounce it over to Sean. Who do you have?
I think I'm gonna go with Roca.
Fair enough. There you go. Nice, short, and to the point. Colin, what about you?
Ben Bateman.
And he made it a song. Oh, boy. All right, Bugs, what about you?
Yeah, I'll go Bateman as well. He did not play great this match, but outside of that, objectively saying he's one of my favorite players, singles players. So I will say Bateman for the win, unfortunately.
There you go. Fair enough. Soul, what about you?
John Roca.
There you go. Also, keeping it short and sweet. Oh man, I feel like all three of these matches are going to be real barn burners. It's tough to call it because, I mean, if you look at the way John Roca's been playing in these team matches, it's dirty. Oh, he's doing so well. But, oh, God. I mean, I mostly got to listen to Boggs at this point because Boggs is just getting all the right answers every single dang week. I'm going to say I think John Roca's going to take the loss. I think John Roca is going to take the loss. I think it's going to be close. It's going to be tight. And I'm going to get fired either way if I'm right or wrong. But I do not think Roca will walk away with the win this time around.
John, Boggs didn't listen to his heart last week, and he missed a point with corruption. So do you really want to listen to Boggs when he doesn't listen?
That sounds like something to tell me in pre-production. Soul. That sounds like something to tell me before I put my picks out.
Yeah, I doubt a chance. God. I shouldn't have.
At least I get to be fired and wrong this
you won't
week,
be fired.
Which is great. Well, on that
sounds like I'm out of
on
here.
that dour note, on what is, gang, this episode has been absurd. This episode's been insane. It's gone on for so long, but it's been great. We've talked about so many fun things. And I just want to bounce it over to y'all to let the people know where they can find you now that this episode is coming to a close. I'll, of course, say, folks, please do make sure to like this video, leave a comment, let the people know that this is content that should be watched. Check out Streamlabs. Check out Patreon for next time around. Don't forget also to join the Discord so that way we can read out your questions for next week. Starting over with Soul, what would you like the people to check out from you?
Yeah, go check the Pop Culture Universe YouTube channel. Boggs and I are doing Bad Batch reviews. Go check Sean Wingblade's YouTube channel. Colin and I just were on there with the Mighty Ducks, so go check that out. And just, follow John Roca.
Very true, yeah. All true, all great. Check out Pop Culture Universe. Boggs, what about you, bud?
Yeah, what these guys said, and also thanks everyone for the stream. Super chats, we didn't get any stream live. Sorry, all the way around. Stream lives, we didn't get any super chats. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and for Ace and the kid Brendan as well. It looks like we've got a last minute stream live from my thing's freezing. Okay. It says, Ask You One, don't have any questions, just congratulations for an incredible match by both teams and support for the show and the channel. They're the ones that I love. Thank you so much. Yeah, people are too nice over here. So, have a look at the Pop Culture Universe, and if not, see you guys next week.
There you go. Colin, great to have you back. Heck of an episode to come back into. Where can the people find you when you're not doing the PGA on ESPN?
In my bed, sleeping. Which is where I need to be.
Go find Colin in his bed. And as for me, you can find me at John Barr Tweets on Twitter and Instagram, twitch.tv/John Barr. I'm about to do some stuff on there, maybe. But that is going to be it for this episode of the Ultimate Schmoedown Aftershow. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next Saturday to talk more Schmoedown. Have a good night.
Bum ba bum bum ba bum 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 ba bum